Fight here in Seattle, so shout out for your favorite breed. Are you a Husky or a Bulldog?
Time to kick off the college football season by letting the dogs out. The Huskies from Washington and the Fresno State Bulldogs take the field in the Northwest to battle it out and see whose bite is bigger than their bark. Pat Hill has his Bulldogs ready to break loose and be at the top of the whack all season long. The Huskies are trying to bounce back from a disappointing year and keep themselves straight in a Pac-10 season that will be sure to have a lot of twists and turns. All right, enough with the words. Time for some action. Fresno State versus Washington starts now.
It's a day on which the Seattle-Washington Chamber of Commerce ought to be taking a lot of pictures. Absolutely beautiful weather conditions for this football game. Yes, they tailgate in a very different way up here in the Pacific Northwest, but they are on hand to cheer on the hometown Huskies. College football, still a big show in town. We welcome you to College Football Saturday, presented by Kyocera, as the Fresno State Bulldogs make a house call on the Washington Huskies. And hello again, everybody. I'm Barry Tompkins. We welcome you to a new season of Pac-10 Conference football. We've got contenders, we've got pretenders, we've got wannabes. We got the preseason #1 team in the country, USC. We got a team that's ranked 14 in California that I think is better than that. The Oregons are good, the Arizonas are good. Should be a terrific year in Pac-10 Conference play. And there's a new thing here for me, too, on Fox Sports Net. I got a new partner, and you know him. You remember him playing for the University of Southern California, wearing number 35. He ran hard, he played hard, he scored a lot of touchdowns for USC, and every now and then he did a little dance, sort of like this, and it was a dance like this that kept him out of real show business and put him in the booth next to me. Petros Papadakis, welcome, pal.
Barry, I'm not out of the movies yet. I still got a shot at Hollywood, but you know what? I couldn't be happier to be here with you. Pac-10 football all year. We're going to be everywhere. It's a dream come true for me, and I'm your 100th analyst that you've ever worked with. The century mark, you finally reached it.
The latest is the bestest. We got a great game for you right here, too. Washington Huskies kind of licking their wounds, even though they haven't played a game. It's about who they lost and who they can find to replace who they lost.
Well, they lost Reggie Williams, and he was a special receiver, one of the most special I've ever seen in the Pac-10, but they still have Charles Frederick. This is a very exciting guy. You will see them try to get him the ball at least 20 times this game. They'll flip it to him, they'll pass it to him, they'll stretch the field with him, they'll run reverses. Frederick is the man on this football team, and if they have anything, they have Frederick. He's exciting.
You know, we used to talk about the Washington Huskies, talk about them as a team that personified smash mouth football. Well, now you got to turn that over. That's the way we're talking about Fresno State. They got a running back by the name of Dwayne Wright. They can pound you, and with a guy named Wright, you can't go wrong.
Certainly not. This guy is a special back. They're very high on him. Every single Fresno coach gushes when you talk about Dwayne Wright. That's because he has every tool that you need to have as a back. He can run the zone. He can run outside. He can run inside. He has breakaway speed. He's physical, and he's got beautiful vision. Dwayne Wright ran for 1,000 yards last year. They're looking for another 1,000 this year.
And it's a huge game for Fresno State. They just love beating up on BCS opponents. They're going to try to do that to the hometown Washington Huskies. We'll be back for the opening kickoff right now. Back to you guys.
100 broadcast partners. Well, these are my normal broadcast partners, the Hall of Famers, Kellen Winslow and Billy Ray Smith. Let's get you caught up on a great opening week for the Pacific 10 Conference. Start with #1 USC. It was about a week ago. It was in the Coaches Classic. It was Matt Leinart to Reggie Bush on frequent occasion. 24-13, they got tested a bit, the #1 team in the nation. How about this yesterday? UTEP ASU. Jordan Palmer's pass is picked off by senior safety Emmanuel Franklin. A couple of days ago, ASU rolled it up 41-9. Oregon State had a wonderful opportunity to defeat the defending national champions. #4 LSU, Alexis Serna here to try to force a second overtime. Misses his 3rd extra point of the game. Other scores in the first week of football: Cal, Stanford, impressive. Mike Stoops win his debut, but UCLA loses to Oklahoma State. Oregon State, Kellen, looked very good, but they did not finish.
It would have been great to knock off the #3 team in the nation. It would have been great for Oregon State. Just didn't get it done. I think it was a coaching mistake, Billy Ray. You don't put that young man back out there. You go for 2 to win the ball game and get on the plane.
Yeah, but you can count on Mike Riley to do whatever he has to get this team turned around and headed in the right direction against Boise State.
Well, we will see if it will be the right direction for Washington today against a very good Fresno State team. And we'll see at the half on the College Football Saturday Halftime Report. The kickoff from Seattle is coming up next. Enjoy the first half, everybody.
Keep up with the Dogs on the Husky Football Experience. It's a half hour that showcases the inside story with game breakdowns, coaches, comments, and features. The Husky Football Experience. Thursday at 10:30 only on FSN.
Introducing the Sports List, the new show that counts down anything
And everything.
in the world of sports.
The Sports List. Weeknights on FSN.
We welcome you back to Husky Stadium in Seattle. Fresno State in Washington just about to tee it off. And here come the Huskies. And the Huskies come out barking. And Petros, you have experienced this. What a tough place on a visiting team.
I played back here in 1997, and we didn't cross the 50. You know, they say it's one of the most scenic places to watch a football game, but you know what? Not if you're the visiting team. The angles in the stands are so steep that the crowd looks like they're going to fall on you. It's one of the few places in the country also, Barry, that they bark at you, and that's a little disconcerting for a college kid.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question about it. And they talk about stadiums rocking. Well, this one literally rocks. Just a couple of minutes ago, before the Huskies came out, people pounding their feet, jumping up and down, and I mean literally this place shaking.
And you know what? That's not good either for a young freshman football player or anybody playing in this stadium for the first time. Nobody wants to feel the earth moving ever, and when it happens when you're just about to play a very tough Washington football team, I tell you, it's very intimidating.
Not so good for an 85-year-old stadium either.
No, certainly not.
We're up on top of the world, too, I will tell you that. Well, that's what the Fresno State Bulldogs will have to deal with. They'll have to deal with the crowd, and I think it's going to be very important for Fresno State to take this crowd out of the game early. Now, I have seen that happen up here, but you got to jump on them early.
You have to jump on them early. There's one way that Fresno State can do that. That is by running the football. That's why by using Dwayne Wright, being angry, being physical, quieting this crowd down. That's the only shot they got early in the first quarter.
And here come the Bulldogs onto the playing field, and as you can see, the silence is deafening. And that's what happens in Washington. They'll beat you up once they get you going. It's going to be incumbent on the visitors from Fresno, although they did bring quite a few fans of their own. They travel in bunches, do the Fresno fans. The Red Wave, they call them, and they are here in Seattle hoping that their Bulldogs can do what they've done so many times before, and that is jump up and bite a bigger dog. Opening kickoff going to be coming up in just a couple of moments, so don't go away. We're coming back to rockin' Husky Stadium, the Bulldogs of Fresno State, the Huskies of Washington after this.
What the fuck is it? First quarter, let's go. Win on 3. 1, 2, 3, win.
Welcome back to Seattle. Barry Tompkins, Petros Papadakis. We are at Husky Stadium, and we are just about set to go. Fresno State and Washington. Washington won the toss, and they will receive. Now, that's really kind of a surprise. Washington usually, in fact, most teams usually will defer, but they want the football, and I think the reason that they do want the football, Petros, is that they want to get it in the hands of Charles Frederick right now.
They want to get their offense on the field. They want to get that young quarterback, Casey Paz, going. They want to get Fredericks going. They want to get some explosiveness in this stadium to get this crowd excited. Washington, not that strong on defense last year. A lot of the same guys back in this year. They got to protect that defense with an explosive offense.
And Keith Gilbertson, of course, an offensive guy. He's been an offensive coordinator for many years and kind of redirecting his teams and get down the other end where you belong. But they're going to take the football first. They will start with their backs to Lake Washington here. Charles Frederick will be the deep man along with Sonny Shackelford for the Washington Huskies. And here's a look at Pat Hill. You got to like this guy. I mean, he gets his team prepared as well as anyone.
It depends what kind of football you like. If you like smash-mouth football, this is your guy. And in the meetings that we had with him yesterday, I've never been so afraid of a coach in my life. He looks at you with those mean eyes, and he's got that handlebar mustache, and he is all business. Since this is 8th year at Fresno, all he does here is win and battle, battle, battle for respect, and the Bulldogs are getting it.
Brett Vicentainer will kick it away for the Fresno State Bulldogs. As we said, Frederick and Shackelford the deep men for the Washington Huskies. There is a look at Charles Frederick. They call him E.T. And they want to get him at least 15 touches in a game. To say that he's a big play guy really is to make an understatement. Crowd on its feet. And the 2004 college football season kicks off. Twisting kick headed for Shackelford. He doesn't touch it, and it goes in and out of the end zone. It'll be a touchback, and the Huskies will start at the 20-yard line. Take a look at the lineups. First of all, for the Washington Huskies, and they will use a two-headed quarterback system, but they will start with Casey Paz. You might remember his brother Corey was the starting quarterback at UCLA. Comes from New Lenox, Illinois, and a very confident guy with a very strong arm. The backs and receivers, Kenny James, and they're looking for a 1,000-yard season out of him. He's got breakaway speed. Zach Tuiasosopo, predominantly a blocker, but will get his carries every now and then. And then Frederick and Williams, the wideouts. The offensive line, Barnes, Walker, Vanneman, Daniels, and Brooks. And it is something of a question mark, and it usually isn't up here in Seattle. That is usually one of the Huskies' strengths. They go out of the I formation in a slot right. And they give it to the fullback, Tuiasosopo, on first down, and he gets just about a yard, no more than that. Bulldogs shut it down right now. They will run a lot of option, and that's what the Fresno defense is going to have to deal with. They will start with Morris, Booker, Leonard, and McIntyre up front. Very active, and they'll rotate about 7 people on that down 4. Marcus Riley getting the start today ahead with Dwayne Andrews and Todd Garcia, and a very good secondary. The strength of this team is at the corners, Marshall and Washington, and they have 5 corners, all of whom can cover. 3 wideouts now for the Huskies on second down. Quick toss this time to Frederick, and he has no place to go. I think he had his knee down when he caught the ball. Going to lose about a yard. Frederick is a guy that had literally the second biggest day in the history of Pac-10 Conference football, and the biggest day in the history of the University of Washington last year. He had 327 yards, all-purpose, 1 game, 59 catches, and you talked about it earlier, Petros, a 14-yard per catch average.
216 yards just receiving in that game, 3 touchdowns all the way around. He went wild, and, you know, he broke a purpose yard record here at Washington that was held by Hugh McElhaney.
Goes back a few years.
I guess so.
Hall of Famer Hugh McElhaney. Slot left this time. They go out of the gun. Paws going to put it up. Drops straight back. Has time. Steps up. Throws deep. Has Shackelford incomplete. Flag down. Going to get interference against Nate Ray. And I don't think he had to do that because that ball sailed well over his head.
That is not a play that Ray had to make. He had the receiver right on him. All he had to do was jump up and slap it down. He got a little bit impatient, and that'll happen in the first game of the year. There you see the ball going up, and Ray going for the tackle, not even looking at the ball, did not have a lot of confidence in his ability to make that play, and just went right after Shackelford. Bad play by Ray, and not a penalty that they had to have for the Bulldogs. That's going to upset Pat Hill.
Absolutely gives the Huskies a first down.
Foul.
A personal foul.
And that's also going to happen early in the first game. Guys get chippy. I mean, remember, this is the first time that either of these teams have seen an opposite color on the other side of the field. They've been beating up on each other in camp for 2-3 weeks.
On the play, personal foul on the defense, number 99. That penalty will be enforced 15 yards in the previous spot. Also on the play, pass interference on the defense, number 3. That penalty is declined. First down and 10.
Well, a big break for the Huskies, and a little bit too aggressive that time on the part of Danielle Booker.
That's not the way you want to start out a game, Barry, especially inside. You know, you want these guys to be aggressive. You want them to fight. You want them to be angry. You want them to throw blows, but only between the whistles. When it gets after the whistle and you start throwing punches at people, that's when the flags start flying, and it's not a good thing for anybody, especially when you're on the road.
Keeps early momentum now for the Washington Huskies. They send Daniels to the far side of the field. Russo in the slot inside of Frederick to the near side. Out of the I formation. Pause the quarterback. Give to James for the first time. Spins off one man, 35, and down at the 38-yard line. Garcia on the tackle. Garcia missed the tackle, and then he was ultimately stopped at the 38. Called it the 37.
They blitzed Garcia off the backside, and he was in perfect position to make this play. James just made him miss. Sometimes when you blitz in that situation and there's nobody that blocks you, Garcia found himself all alone with the running back in the backfield, especially in the first drive of the first game. Guys have a tendency to freak out. James got by him.
Gain of 3. It'll be 2nd and 7. Start Frederick in motion this time. Pause, play fake, will throw. Out of the backfield this time. The ball is caught by Tuiasosopo, and he'll have a first down, and another flag comes in, and I'm sure that's going to be a late hit against Fresno.
Things Things are getting a little chippy out there early. Zach Tuiasosopo, we said he'd get his touches. Here you see Paz just hitting it in the flat. Very easy catchable ball. Tuiasosopo turns it up the field. He knows where the first down is. And that's a face mask and a late hit maybe they can call on that, Barry.
Yeah, that's tough. Aggressive defense, but a little bit too aggressive early in this game for the Bulldogs. James Saunders was the guy that was there. Richard Marshall as well. No foul, they say.
That's interesting. I thought there might have been 2 fouls on that one. Sanders is one of the most physical tacklers that Fresno State has. They said he might be the best secondary player in the history of the university when it's all said and done. The guy's just a junior. I thought he was a little over-aggressive on that play with the face mask and the hit out of it.
Could just be all the adrenaline that's going on for the Bulldogs right now.
It's crazy in the first game. You know, you have to remember to play football all over again.
1st and 10, the ball at the 47-yard line. Pitch to James, runs the right side. No place to go. Knocked out of bounds short of midfield at the 48 by Todd Garcia.
And that's a good run by Kenny James. He gets a few yards. He gets what he can. A lot of running backs will just take that one all the way to the sideline and get thrown out of bounds, maybe for a 1-yard loss or no gain. But James is able to get a couple yards out of that just by being patient and following the blockers. That's what you really have to do on a sweep. You got to be patient, follow those blockers, and get yourself a couple yards so you're not dealing with a 2nd and 10.
Good pursuit by the Fresno State defense just to string it out that time. 2nd down and 8. They go out of the I formation, slot left. Quick toss this time. A pause, and it's knocked down out of the line of scrimmage by Saunders. That is Claude Sanders. They have James Sanders and Claude Sanders. James Sanders is safety, Claude Sanders defensive end.
And Claude Sanders is the guy they're going to rotate him. They like him because he's physical, and that's what happens when the quarterback drops 3 steps. They tell these guys, get your hands up, get him up and knock that ball down, because you're not going to get to him and make the sack. Just get your hands up and try to knock down those little flip plays.
You can see what the Bulldogs have done defensively. 23 points allowed per game, 2nd behind Boise State, an excellent team, and they are again this year. Average only 15 points per game. Out of the shotgun again. 3rd and long now for the Huskies. Big play early in this game. Pause, straight back. Rush comes over the middle. Ball's caught. First down at the 38-yard line. Charles Frederick.
And there he is, E.T., long hair and all. You know, his hair's a lot longer than it was last year. I don't think he's cut it. Tyrone Culver made the play, but he made it a little bit late. Frederick just found a spot inside that zone. A little bit of a pick by John Lyon, the tight end. And that's how Frederick got so wide open. Amazing there wasn't a penalty on that one, Barry, but first down Washington.
I'll say Lyon really gave him everything. Took the man right off him. First down at the 38-yard line now for the Huskies. Out of the gun again. They give him an inside handoff this time to Sims, and he doesn't get much, about a yard. James Sims, junior out of Las Vegas. Backup fullback to Tuiasosopo.
You see a pick play like that, and you wonder, what were the referees looking at? Maybe those guys got their shoulder pads or their face mask hooked up and they couldn't get unhooked, but that was very blatant by John Lyon, and they couldn't have taught him to do that, and sometimes you just get hooked up to a guy and you can't get rid of him.
Slot left this time. 9th play of the drive upcoming here for the Dogs. That is the Huskies. We got dogs and dogs here. Short drop pass, throws out here, caught by Frederick, knocked out of bounds. Gain of about 4. Richard Marshall knocked him out. But they are getting the ball in the hands of Frederick.
And that is what a guy like Charles Frederick does for your team. Sometimes it's a substitution for the run game. If you can get him out there on little flip plays and hit him in the flat or hit him on little slants and get yourself 5 yards, that's almost as good as a run play. The only thing it doesn't do, Barry, is beat up and take football out of that defensive line. And that's one thing you want to do in a football game, especially when you have the home field advantage. But Frederick, he's good for 5 yards when you give him a little flip like that.
3rd down and 6. They're in a dime package, are the Bulldogs. 6 defensive backs. They will blitz a lot out of this. They have not yet to blitz today. They show blitz, and here they come. And Paz unloads it. It's almost picked. Knocked down that time by Marcus Riley, and a good job coming up from the left linebacker spot by Riley.
And Marcus Riley is a guy that they move from the safety position, and they like to put him in the middle when they run that dime position. He brought some heat, and he knows how to get those hands up. He's a defensive back. Tyrone Culver came with the blitz and put some pressure on Paz. He got rid of the ball early. It looked like a good play, but getting those hands up helps.
So the Husky drive will stall, And Adam Jennings will stand at the 10-yard line to receive this punt. And Bulldogs oftentimes, they'll come after kickers. This one is angled toward the corner, but misses badly, goes well into the end zone, and a flag is down at about the 27-yard line. 35-yard punt, no return, but let's see about the penalty. Fresno State was hampered by penalties on that drive. A couple of them keeping the drive alive. And this one is going to go against Fresno State. It's a hold, and I believe that's going to give the Huskies a first down. I will see if it's post-possession or not. I don't know.
Pat Hill has to be pulling his mustache hairs out right now, Barry.
On the return team, number 24. That penalty will be enforced 10 yards from the 20-yard line. First down and 10, Fresno State.
So it was a post-possession penalty, so Fresno State will have the ball, but they're going to have to start deep in their own territory at the 10-yard line. We're scoreless, 11:22 left first quarter. College Football Saturday on Fox Sports Net is presented by Kyocera Wireless Phones. All the features, none of the hassles. By Napa Auto Care Centers. Napa, get the good stuff. And by Lee Dungarees, who remind you, no matter what happens, don't flinch. And by Toyota, get the feeling. Toyota. Welcome back. Bulldogs have the ball for the first time. They run a little delay and get the ball across the 15-yard line to the 16. They just hurried to the line of scrimmage. And Wright carried for a gain of 6.
They really did sprint up to the line of scrimmage on that one, and they caught the Washington defense off guard. They weren't able to get their strength in there, and they got him for a quick 6 yards.
So it'll be second down and 4. Paul Pinniger, the quarterback, out of the I formation with Wright to tailback. Bring a tight end in motion. Give it to Wright, left side, a little gap, and it shuts down. And Wright is stopped right at the line of scrimmage. Let's take a look, first of all, for the Fresno State Bulldogs offensively. And we mentioned Paul Pinniger will be the quarterback. He is a junior, and he is 15-5 as a starter. Comes from Woodland, California. Dwayne Wright, we spoke about him. Nate Adams gets the start at fullback. Adam Jennings is their big play guy. This is a very deep and very talented team. Very good along the offensive line. Mankins and Shack, two of the best in the WAC. Rivera now in at the running back spot. They go out of the gun on third down and 5. Pinniger, the quarterback. Huskies show blitz. They back out of it. Pinniger with time. He throws, has a man. Ball is caught this time by Fernandez, and it's going to be close. Joe Fernandez. That's a familiar name to you. It should be. His dad was a pretty good football player. Remember Mervin Fernandez?
Swervin' Mervin Fernandez of LA Raiders fan.
Good enough for the first down. Oh, fourth down. I beg your pardon. They come up short. So 3 and out for the Bulldogs on their first possession. Fernandez just couldn't get the shoulders squared away long enough to make that first down. Frederick will be the deep man. And here's where he could be very, very dangerous. Michael Ingua, the punter. And now they rush Frederick up the line of scrimmage because they didn't have a man on the outside. They only had 10 men on the field. Now they make an adjustment, a short, wobbly kick. Frederick, fair catch at the 42-yard line.
That's the longest I've ever seen a kick returner run on a fair catch.
So 38-yard punt. The good news for the Bulldogs, no return. They're coming back. Well, both teams sputter a little bit on their first offensive tries of the day. Washington Huskies here in this opening game really trying to find out something about themselves. This is a team that lost a whole lot of yards last year in losing Cody Pickett, and as you mentioned earlier, losing Reggie Williams.
That's just about 14,000 yards of offense between Pickett and Williams career-wise. How do you replace that? Not really sure, but it's exciting to see who they got and who's going to step up and be the man on this Washington offense.
So the Huskies will start at the 43-yard line. Paws still the quarterback. 3-step drop, swings it out here for Russo and missed badly. Well, here's the pieces of the puzzle for the Washington Huskies. They lost Cody Pickett, as you said, a 7th-round draft choice of the San Francisco 49ers, who not incidentally is impressing the 49er folk down in the Bay Area. 10,000-plus career passing yards. And we already spoke of Reggie Williams. He was the big play guy, and I say that with due respect to Charles Frederick. And they lost another 3,600 yards there. So here's a guy who's trying to pick up a whole lot of slack. Here's the option. With Paws running, he's got room. 45, tried to step outside, and a fingertip tackle that time by Richard Marshall saved a big play.
And I'm not sure if Stanbeck was in the game that he would have made that play. I mean, Paws got just tackled by the shoe tip, and that's too bad because it looked like he might have had a first down on this one. He makes a correct read, takes the ball right up the field. The pitch man was covered by two guys. And Paws just can't break free. It would have been a first down for Washington. A lot of confidence for a guy who doesn't run the option a lot. 3rd down and 6. He's a big guy, not exactly your prototypical option quarterback. Out of the gun this time. Here comes a blitz. There's a shovel pass. And going to be a first down for Russo at the 45-yard line in Fresno. Right call at the right time. And this is some of the creativity that you're going to see in a Keith Gilbertson offense. He just showed you the option going right. Now he comes back left, gives you an option look, and flips the ball very quickly to the slot guy, Russo. Russo does the right thing, takes the ball up the field, makes a cut, breaks the tackle, spins around a little bit, and gets a first down. Very creative play by Keith Gilbertson. First down at the 45-yard line. Gilby always a great offensive mind. The Prince of the Northwest offensively. Love the guy. Slot left this time. I formation once more, and Paws checking off here. 5-man front shown by the Bulldogs. Now they back out of it. They come off the corner, and that's going to hit Marshall in the back, and they're going to get him for interference, and I think that's right. Seemingly a bit of miscommunication there between Fredericks and Paws. Fredericks looked to be going way down the field. Paws wanted to hit him with like a mid-range pass, and Marshall saw that ball and tried to fight through Fredericks. I'm not sure about that flag, Barry. He was draped around him pretty good, I thought. Going for the ball.
Pass interference on the defense. Spotted the foul.
So the 3rd penalty for Fresno State that has cost them a first down. Now the ball at the 33-yard line. That's part of the deal when you play aggressive defense as well. You're going to get a lot of penalties, and this Fresno State team, very aggressive defense. First down at the 33-yard line. I formation once more. Here's the pitch back to James. James at the 30, head down to the 28-yard line. Got about 5. Richard Marshall on the stop again. They're running that option pretty well, though. They told us we were going to see option, and not just with Stanbeck in the game. Isaiah Stanbeck yet to be in the game, but Casey Paws is running it very, very well. He gets a nice pitch going out there. We saw a shovel pass. We've seen him keep the ball. We've seen him pitch the ball. Let's check out Khalif Barnes. He's the All-American candidate right tackle for them. He's their weak tackle, but they're running on the strong side. He's very physical, gets out there, puts his hands on the linebacker, and poor Garcia's just not going to get away from him in that situation. Marshall comes up with a saving tackle, gain of 5, 2nd and 5. Give it to James this time, right side, little gap, dance step, gets inside the 25, down about the 22. He'll have another Husky first down. Gain of 6, and he earned it. And the former walk-on Todd Garcia again on that tackle, and he did earn it. This is why they like Kenny James. He runs physically, he runs inside, but you can also give him the ball outside like you saw on the pitch. He's an all-around back. Now, the days of giving him back the ball 30 times a game, they might be over. But if there is a back in the Pac-10 that can do that, Kenny James might be the guy. They go out of the shotgun again. And here's a shovel pass again, this time to Sims, and that doesn't get much. Gain of about 2. Well, fool Fresno State once on defense, shame on you, but fool them twice, shame on them. They're not going to fall for that shovel pass again. I think that's the only time that Gilby's going to be able to run that one at them. But he tried it again to the other side, and it was a valiant effort, but just didn't make the play. 2nd down and 8, the ball at the 20-yard line, and Washington is held the ball most of this first quarter. Fresno State has only had 3 offensive snaps out of the I formation once more. Shackelford in the slot. Short drop, Paws throws, and incomplete, intended for Frederick, and Marshall had a beat on that. If that ball had been thrown well, Marshall might have been gone. And Paws has been throwing the ball a little bit flighty out there in the flat. He's a little bit
out of control with those flat balls, and he's only had one big ball over the middle. He's going to have to settle down a little bit, but that's what you expect. This guy is starting his very first game, and you know what? He's a junior. So he's been watching this all go down for years here at Washington without getting out there on the field and actually doing it for himself. He's 6 of 10 right now with 33 yards, and he's going to have to improve that. They're going to want him around 60%.
Slot left this time, 3rd down and 8. Again, they run what looks like the option. Now they throw behind it, and Paz throws too tall that time, intended for Anthony Russo. And it'll be 4th down. It should bring about a field goal try. Now, Fresno State, we talked about how effective they are in blocking kicks. They blocked 9 kicks last year. And don't you know they're going to be coming after a young kicker like Knudsen.
They're like a baby Virginia Tech out here on the West Coast. Fresno State takes pride in blocking kicks, and that's really the mark of a physical team. Defense and special teams, and Pat Hill truly has it going. You saw another high pass from Casey Paz there.
37-yard attempt for Evan Knudsen. He'll hit it out of the hold of Casey Paz. Snap place on its way, and no good. Might have hooked it to the left. No good. Richard Marshall was coming hard, and they almost got it. What they do is they make you do things quicker than you want to do it, and they really play havoc with your timing. Fresno State will have it after the missed field goal attempt. We're scoreless. 5 minutes, 58 seconds remaining to be played here in quarter number 1. Don't go away. We're coming back. Welcome back to Husky Stadium. It's a scoreless game. 5:59 remaining in the first quarter, and Fresno State will have the football for only the 2nd time in this game. They were 3 and out in their first possession. Paul Penninger under center. They go out of the I formation. Right to tailback. Long time from Penninger. Give it a right, left side. A little bit of a gap. Fumble. Ball is loose, and the Huskies have it. That's Goldson with the ball at the 40, at the 35. Penninger has to make the tackle and does at the 26-yard line. First big turnover of the ball game, and the Huskies get it.
That's what you don't want to do when you're playing on the road at Washington, especially in this stadium, especially in the opener. Turnovers will destroy you. And Wright has a great run. Adams with a solid block on this one. You see the great block. Wright makes the right cut. The ball just pops out. Didn't even look like anybody knocked it out. And Deshaun Goldson picks up that ball. This is a guy that won the job in camp, a junior college transfer that didn't even get a chance to play in the spring because he had shoulder surgery. And they were a little bit worried. They were a little bit concerned about how he was going to perform on the field. Well, he was around the ball on that one, Barry, and he makes a big play.
Husky offense right back in business here. They have it at the 27-yard line. Fresno has had only 4 snaps in this first quarter. Big turnover. Real chance for the Dogs here. Pause with time. Pump fake. Now he throws a swing. It's caught by James. James at the 25 to the 20-yard line, and then he's popped. Alan Goodwin, first man to him from Fresno State. That play looked like it was going further than it did. Gain of 7.
Paz was a little slow on the progression in that one. The 3rd receiver in the progression was Kenny James out there on the swing route. He checked one man, he checked another man. Kenny James was open the entire time. He could have hit him earlier. That might have been a touchdown play, but he hit him a little late. The ball was behind him. Kenny James only got about 7 yards.
2nd down and 3 now. The ball at the 21-yard line. Corey Paz all the way, or the Casey Paz all the way at quarterback. Now they flop the tight ends. Paz pitch to James. James avoids the first tackler, but not the second. They get it from behind. Loss of about 1.5 yards. Right now, let's go back to our studio for a Kyocera game break. Guys?
Barry, thank you very much. Battle of the Bluegrass States. Senior quarterback for Louisville, Stephen LaForce, finds the junior Broderick Clark. That made it 21-0. Louisville's won 31 straight games when leading after 3. They're in the 4th, Barry.
All right, thanks very much, Mike. So we'll keep you posted on what's happening not only there, but all around the country on this Sunday of college football. Very unusual. Time that the Washington Huskies have ever opened their season on a Sunday. Big play right here. 3rd down and 4. Nickel defense for the Bulldogs. Pause, straight back, steps up. Now he throws for the end zone. Nobody there. The miscommunication there.
That play seemed doomed from the beginning. Casey Paws seemed to open up the wrong way and then threw into the middle of nowhere, and that's what you get when you have a quarterback who's starting his first football game. Look for him to settle down in the second quarter and get a feel for it. Football's a feeling game. Just getting in and out of the huddle, talking to the refs, the play clock, all that takes adjustment in the first game of the season.
So Evan Knutson will come on to try this time a 38-yard field goal. He was wide left on a 37-yard attempt a moment ago. And again, we tell you that Fresno State, one of the most adept teams of blocking kicks in America. They have a 10-man front right now. Knutson will hit this at the 28-yard line. Snap, place, kicked, and not going to get there this time either. Short and left. And Fresno State dodges another bullet.
I believe they got a piece of that one over the top, which was a ball that must have been kicked very low. Knutson just not getting that ball off the turf well, and a lot of kickers don't like kicking on this field turf.
I think it might have been Logan Mankins who got a piece of it. You're right. And so Fresno State again, I mean, they are really disruptive in the kicking.
They sure are, and they seem to be in this young kicker's head, and he's pushing his hand like, hey, they got a piece of it. Well, they got a piece of it, Evan, because you kicked it so low. You got to get that ball up, especially when you have jumpers behind the line of scrimmage.
So 2 missed field goals for the Huskies. They can't take advantage of the first turnover of the game, and now the Bulldogs will have it again at the 21-yard line. Sumlin in a tailback for the first time. Play fake, Pinniger will throw, in trouble, down he goes. Manas Hapoy, first man to him for the Huskies with help from Brandon Alla. Let's take a look at the Washington Huskies defense, and they made it count right there. Along the defensive line, Mapualasega with Hapoy and Alla, who combined for that sack on Pinniger. Lovendon back after an injury season last year. Scott White with Evan Benjamin moved from safety because of his speed. Derek Johnson, very good corner. Both these teams solid at the cornerback. Johnson and Cunningham for Washington. Play fake, Pinniger to throw again. Now he has to step up and does throw a little bit late, but it's caught by Jamison. He's short of the first down by about 6 yards.
Pinniger showed a lot of what he had and lost, and he didn't really show last year. He had a torn pectoral muscle last year. Didn't throw the ball very well. Couldn't really get the zip on the ball. Now, after getting sacked on first down, he comes back and throws a strike to Jamison. That'll be good for his confidence.
Yeah, what Pat Hill told us is that he's a very good quarterback at the line of scrimmage, and a lot of their offense starts at the line of scrimmage. They go out of the gun this time on third down. A short 6. Straight back Pinniger, he's got time. Now he throws deep this time, and it is knocked away. And a flag comes in. I don't know about that. And Sam Cunningham looked to me like he got all ball, but we're about a million miles away, so I'll trust the official's judgment. Gilby didn't like it too much.
Cunningham seemed to be there right on time. Right when the ball got there, he slapped the ball. That's what it seemed like to me from here as well.
Officials discussing this. Crowd not real happy about it. There's a look at Sam Cunningham. Long discussion.
It's a nice ball from Pinniger. Put it right where it had to be.
And it is interference against Washington. So first penalty of the game, but a costly one. It keeps things alive for the Fresno State Bulldogs. That's their first out of the ball game. Oh, by the way.
And Cunningham had to make up some speed because he didn't touch him at the line of scrimmage. And he did get there a little bit early.
Yeah, I thought he did.
And that flag is going to come out every time, Barry, when you don't look back at the ball. When you're looking straight at the guy and you have your hand on the receiver, they're going to throw that flag every time. They used to call it face guarding back in the day.
That's right.
They still do anymore.
I don't think there is face guarding anymore in college football. So the Bulldogs will have their best field position of the game now as they get across the 40-yard line. They're yet to be in Washington territory. Bryson Sumlin continues at the tailback spot. They hustle to the line of scrimmage. They give it to Sumlin, right side. Sumlin with a little room. 45 to about the 46-yard line. A gain of 5 on first down. The first down line is brought to you by Overstock.com, your online outlet. It's all about the O. Another flag down on that play, and this one appears to be going against Fresno State.
I think it's going to be a hold on Logan Mankins. And remember, this is his first game in a year, almost 2 years. Very special offensive tackle at Fresno State.
Fresno State offense kind of sputtering early in this game, not really showing any consistency. But the defense doing yeoman's work.
.74, 10-yard penalty, previous spot, still first down.
So it'll be first down, but it'll be first down and 20 now. Fourth penalty for Fresno State, 47 yards in penalties. It'll take it back to just over the 31-yard line.
And you expect to have a few penalties in your first game of the year, but this is way too many in the first quarter for Pat Hill, and he will not be happy at halftime. I can guarantee you that.
Sumlin remains the tailback. In motion comes Reed. And out of the backfield, here's Sumlin on a swing pass. 30, outside 35, 40, and got about 12 of it back as he got to the 42, maybe the 43-yard line. Nice blocking by the tight end, Duncan Reed. Well, Gus Hansen's taken a big lead so far, but 4 of the world's best poker players know that this is their last chance before the finals to make a run at the Great Dane. It's the Poker Superstars Invitational tonight at 9, only on FSN.
Poker's like the new cigar, you know what I mean?
It's a hot ticket,
all the middle-aged guys all over wearing those Havana clothing, they love poker.
Not to mention the kids. Every kid in America is playing poker.
Is that the right message to send?
Second down and 8. Pinniger with a lot of time. Now he throws incomplete, and I don't know. It looked to me that time like Derek Johnson had a lot of jersey there as well. Jermaine Johnson, the intended receiver.
Fresno State has had a hard time really coming up with some rhythm here offensively. They've had some turnovers. They've had a couple penalties. They've made a change at tailback now. You see Pinniger with a whole bunch of time to throw. Throws the ball in there, but really nice coverage from Derek Johnson.
I'd say it was interference. Nice coverage, but
he was right on top of him. And when the guy makes an inside move like that, and you're right on top of him, you can't really call interference on that one. It's the outside moves that will get you on interference.
So third down and long now for Fresno State. Out of the gun once more. Pinniger straight back. Blitz comes. Pinniger in trouble. Down he goes. Back to the 31-yard line. That time Joe Lobendon just blew in untouched.
And what Lobendon did on this play was green dog him. That's what we like to call it back in the day. He waits, comes right behind, and finally makes that play. He's a hard guy to get under, even if they did try to block him. He's only about 5'10", and he weighs about 240. He's a junior, didn't play a lot last year, and you get a defensive back, Benjamin, coming around and finishing him off. That was not a pleasant play for Pinniger.
So Lingua will come on to do the punting, and Charles Frederick stands at the 25-yard line. This time a high twisting kick, good kick, will drive Frederick all the way back to 13-yard line. Fair catch, excellent punt that time by Lingua. So it'll put the Huskies deep in their own territory to start things. And now we're going to see a new quarterback for the Washington Huskies, Isaiah Stanback. He is just a sophomore. He played as a true freshman last year, but played wideout for the most part. And they like him. Great athlete, says Gilby. Maybe not quite the pure passer that Paws is, but runs the option extremely well. Comes out of Garfield High School here in Seattle. A school that has produced a ton of basketball players, but quite honestly, not a lot of football players.
Washington's offense just got a lot more exciting, Barry.
Stanback could scoot. They go from the gun on first down. Here's Stanback rolling right. He's going to keep it, and he's not going to get much, about a yard. Fresno State's defense really strings the field out very well in this place.
They run very well, and one of the best runners on that defense is the man that made that tackle, James Sanders, 5'11", 205. He's a junior out of Porterville. Best safety in the history of the program, they're saying. A physical tackler. This guy's all whack, loves to bring it. I mean, he just loves to play football, loves to tackle. Reminds me of a guy I played with by the name of Troy Polamalu. People that just love to be physical and tackle and be nasty up in there.
Out of the I formation this time. 2nd and 9, pitch to James. James got a little gap, cut back nicely. Gets it up across the 20 to the 22, and it'll be close to a Washington first down. Garrett McIntyre made the tackle along with Tyrone Pulver, but a nice cutback by James.
And this is the excitement I was talking about when you bring Isaiah Stan back in the game. He gets that pitch out there immediately. See him put a little move on the end before he makes that pitch. Alan Goodwin finally gets up to make the stop, but not before Kenny James. Shows a little bit of skill in that option. And I was shocked they were going to run that option, but it seems to be working right now.
And they give you a lot of looks off of it, too. It's not just your basic triple option. Here's Stanback again, and he's going to get enough, I believe. This will depend on the spot. And I think he's going to get a left-footed spot, which I think is going to give him the first down. It will probably bring chains, but I'm quite sure this is enough.
Sometimes I don't see so well, Barry. Is this a TCU game we're watching?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you don't see the option much in the Pac-10. Oregon State ran it for a while in the old days. Not very well, but they ran it.
And if you know the history of Keith Gilbertson, you say, where does the option fit into that? You know, in Idaho, he never ran it. He never ran it at Cal. I played for Gilbertson for about a week and a half when I was a California Golden Bear before I transferred down to USC. And you never wonder, you know, where he got that option. He started to run it right when he got to Washington here when they had Marcus Tuiasosopo.
I think Keith Gilbertson now is the guy who says, I'm going to bend my offense to the players I have. That's what he told us yesterday, and that's what he's doing. We've played a quarter, and it's a scoreless ball game. Fresno State, nothing. Washington, nothing. Second quarter coming up on the other side of this commercial break. Don't go away. We're coming back.
Go, Dogs!
We welcome you back. We prepare to start the second quarter. Barry Tompkins, Petros Papadakis. And take a look at our Home Depot longest current NCAA streaks of 500 or better. And look who's number 3, the Washington Huskies. 6-6 last year, but 27 consecutive years of 500 or better. Here's a little swing pass that misses, intended for Sampson. That was a nervous ball thrown by Stanback.
Yeah, sometimes when you throw those balls, the guys don't really know if it's a pitch or if it's an incomplete pass. Doesn't matter if you hear the whistle or not. Every time that happens, they teach you to get on top of that ball, and that is exactly what Shelton Sampson did in that situation. James Sanders with the pressure on him in that one. You know, you look at Washington, they just barely pulled out that 500 season last year, and it was with a great victory. And that's really the Apple Cup victory. That's what really made this Keith Gilbertson's team. They beat Washington State on the last second on one of the last plays. Cody Pickett to Corey Williams.
Here's a give this time to Sampson, and he gets it ahead for about 5, to about the 28-yard line. Shelton Sampson, sophomore out of Lakewood, Washington, played in all 12 games last year at 8 touchdowns. Was a high school 110-meter hurdles champion. That's what he did last year. 8 scores, though, in 60 rushes. That's not bad.
He's not bigger than James, only 5'11", 200 pounds, but he's got sprinter speed, and he does run a lot on the goal line, which is shocking because he's only 200 pounds. This is a back they really like. This is who they really think is their home run hitter in the backfield.
They go out of the gun on 3rd down. 3rd and 6. Stand back on the throw. Throws a little screen to Tuiasosopo. He's got room. All the way to about the 38-yard line and a first down for the Huskies. Khalif Barnes, a big block. One of the Bulldogs had a real shot at him right as he caught the ball. And he just ran right by it.
Here you see Tuiasosopo making that play, and that's what a great fullback gives you. He gives you a 3rd option, a 4th option on 3rd down, a guy that can get you 7 or 8 yards on a quick screen pass. Tuiasosopo's got great hands, but he's not a better catcher than he is a blocker. That's really his job out there. He's an extra offensive lineman.
Not only great hands, but great genes.
Big family tree up here in Washington, I'll tell you that.
Including his sister, who's now an assistant volleyball coach here. Bulldogs might have jumped. This may be a free play. Stanback reaching ahead. Got about 3 yards and no flag, so apparently they did not think that Fresno jumped. Garrett McIntyre makes the tackle. Now we talk about Zach Tuiasosopo as being from some pretty good lineage. His dad, Manu, played at UCLA, played for many years in the NFL. Marcus, as you said, backup quarterback of the Oakland Raiders. Brother Matt was going to come and be a quarterback here in Seattle, and a highly touted quarterback, but he signed instead to play baseball for the Seattle Mariners. He's playing down the road in Everett, Washington, and his sister Leslie played for the volleyball team and is now one of the coaches. He's also got a couple of cousins on this football team. Redshirt freshman. Give the fullback to Tuiasosopo. It's a race. He's the 30. He's the 20. He's the 10, and dragged down at about the 8-yard line by Richard Marshall.
Looked for a second like Zach was going to take that one to the house. There's a reason that this guy is ranked by the Sporting News as the #1 fullback in all of college football. Watch this hole just open up for him. Great block by Barnes, and he's the leader out there, and he races through that hole. Very explosive speed right at the line of scrimmage for Zach. And then Richard Marshall finally catches up to him, but it takes him a little bit of a while to get there. Brad Vanham in the center also really coming off the ball. They caught him off guard with the fullback. Kind of a triple option look coming from the Huskies there.
A gain of 50 for Tuiasosopo, who has been much more part of the offense as usual. And he'll stand back into the end zone for the touchdown. Well, that was effective.
We said the tempo and excitement was going to raise with Isaiah Stanback on the field, and it certainly has. Leads them on a drive, and this crowd's finally woken up here in the second quarter.
Well, neither team was able to do much business offensively, and then bang, bang, 2 plays, 58 yards and a score.
Token fake, and he makes that cut that Casey Paz cannot make. Straight up to the end zone and makes the play.
So Knudsen to try the point. He's missed 2 field goals, but this one he drives through. And it was Michael Bronstein who did that kicking and not Knudsen. So Keith Gilbertson going with a different kicker. This one gets it done. It's a 7-0 ball game just underway in the second quarter, and we're coming back. Well, a whole lot of attaboys for that guy right there, Zach Tuiasosopo. He took it 50 yards to set up the touchdown run. 9 plays, 87 yards, 3 minutes, 23 seconds, culminated by Isaiah Stanback's 8-yard run off the option. And those 2 plays, a thing of beauty.
Not often you see a fullback taking it 50 yards down the field and getting his stride on. And sometimes when you get in that situation, you're running down the field, you don't know if it's a penalty or something's gone wrong or they blew the whistle right at the line of scrimmage and you're the only guy running. Zach Tuiasosopo, 240-pounder. I definitely am telling you, he did not expect to see himself in that position, but there he was, striding down the field. They finally caught up with him, but that electrified that offensive line just enough to run the option. Isaiah Stanback takes it in for Washington's first score and the first score of the game.
Yeah, they really run that option to perfection. The touchdown run by Stanback really also was a thing of beauty. Went for the dive. Everybody went for the dive, and he just simply walked it into the end zone from 8 yards out. So Douglas will kick it off, kicking to Jennings and Marshall. And this is going to be Jennings at about the 6-yard line to the 20. Still on his feet, 25, and stop at the 26-yard line. Let's go back, take a look at Zach Tuiasosopo's 50-yard run. Great blocking up front, and then it was just a foot race.
And look at this big guy, 6'2", about 240, 250 pounds. I guarantee you his helmet's bobbling around right now. His eyes are as big as saucers, and he finally goes down about the 4-yard line. And here's that touchdown run. The offensive line gets a good push, a great cut by Stanback, and he takes it in the end zone and does the right thing for his first touchdown as a quarterback and a team leader, handing it off. Well, I don't know about all that.
Now there's a dance you could not do.
Looks like a reggae concert in Kingston, Jamaica down there.
That's great. Here's a give on first down this time to Stanback, or rather to Sumlin, and Sumlin will get it ahead to about the 33-yard line. A gain of about 6 on first down. That's the best first down play. Gain of 8. And best first down play that Fresno State has had. And it was Wright who was back in the ballgame at the tailback position.
And we finally see Wright back in the game. They took him out for a series and put Sumlin in after that fumble. And that's what you got to do. You always have to take a back out after he fumbles a football. Give him a couple plays to relax, but you don't want to keep him on that sideline too long. He's got to get the ball in his hands once again for his confidence.
2nd down and 2 now for the Bulldogs, who trail 7-0. They go out of the I formation once more. Long count for Pinnacle. Give it to Wright again, and Wright will have the first down. Short of the 40-yard line at the 38. Brandon Ala makes the tackle. Gain of 5 for Dwayne Wright. So after running only 6 yards on their first 5 rushing attempts, they now have tweaked it a little bit, come up with 13 yards on their next 2.
And this is what Fresno State wants to do right now. They want to rely on the running game. They need to keep the ball for a little while. Their defense just got scored on. They just gave up a touchdown. They need to be methodical here.
They go with the slot right. Jamison in the slot to the right side. Once more out of the I formation. And Pinnacle will call a timeout. Saw something he didn't like. As Washington showed a little bit of blitz coming off the edge there. Goldson was lining up as though he might come. Pinniger says, I think I'll think this one over. 7-0. Huskies. College Football Saturday on Fox Sports Net is presented by Kyocera Wireless Phones. All the features, none of the hassles. By new M3 Power from Gillette. Feel the power of the world's best shave. And by Wendy's. It's better here. Fresno State with the football, down 7, 11:49 remaining here in the second quarter of play at Husky Stadium. Fresno State starting to run the football a little bit more effectively. They hurry to the line of scrimmage once again. Quick snap and give it this time to Wright again. Right at the right side, cut back across the 45 to the 46-yard line. That'll be a gain of 6 on first down. And all of a sudden, this running game starting to click. Pat Hill, of course, figures everything comes off the run. And in 5 years, he's had, or 7 years, he's had 5,000-yard rushers. Prior to that, in 76 years, they only had 7,000-yard rushers, so that's what this guy has done.
Tiny discrepancy there. He dedicated himself to the run and being physical. Those two go hand in hand. You can't throw the ball 60 times a game and be physical.
2 tight ends, only 1 wide out. That's Fernandez. Again out of the I formation on 2nd and 4. And again, it's Wright. Wright tries to cut it back, doesn't get much. Across the 45. Maybe he got a yard. I doubt it. Evan Benjamin makes the stop. So it'll be 3rd down and 4.
And here you see the big-time tackle for Fresno, Logan Mainkins. He is a very, very physical player, and he has not been around here. He missed the whole year. You see him get stem out on the linebacker Galloway, and look at him just handle him. Ooh, that's an ugly block. Linebackers don't like seeing that on the weak side very much.
3rd down and 4. Big play here for the Bulldogs. They've not generated a first down on their own yet in this game. Pinniger going to throw. He's in trouble. Now he'll run. And he'll get the first down. Midfield 45 to the 40. 35-30. And finally dragged down inside the 25-yard line. So a busted play turns out to be the biggest play of the day for the Bulldogs.
And sometimes that's what a quarterback needs. Sometimes a quarterback needs a busted play like that. Something just to get the team going. He's got to improvise out there. He knows the team hasn't gotten a first down other than penalties. Pinniger's looking. Finally, he just makes the decision, eludes that tackler. He gets the ball in the right arm. A lot of people don't like seeing the ball switch when you're downfield, but hey, what are you going to do? This guy's trying to make a play. Little high step in there, switches the ball, and Jimmy Newell finally catches up with him. Let's see if this gives Pinniger some juice in this drive.
Gain of 29. Pinniger, no small guy at 6'4", 220. He brought it pretty well. Play fake, Pinniger in trouble, steps away, and now he'll run again. He's the 25, gets down to about the 21-yard line, and got 4 yards where there was absolutely nothing. He was dead in the arms of Evan Benjamin.
Now, Brandon Alla had a shot at him. You see him here on the left of your screen. But Pinniger looking like Fran Tarkenton with the moves. The play fake is not bought by Alla at all. Making a spin, gets that ball way up in the air like he's going to run the Statue of Liberty play. Tries to make a move. He's getting some confidence running the football. For a 220-pound quarterback, this is pretty impressive.
2nd down and 5. 4 rushes for 16 yards for Pinniger now, allowing for the sacks, of course. Out of the I formation once more. And he may be checking off here. The give this time is to Wright. He gets nothing. Knocked backward by the Husky defense. Joe Lobendown is having a nice game. First one to meet him.
And Lobendown is excited to be on that football field again. Let's take a look at him. Here he is right in the middle to Mike Backer, number 53. You'll see him just stuff this play. He's got a gap to play. The gap is right there. He takes on Adams. The fullback sheds him and makes a punishing hit on Wright. Lobendown, a very impressive defender, and they are sure happy to have him back. They lost him last year. He's back this year, and he's back with a vengeance.
Out of Honolulu, Hawaii, and there have been so many outstanding athletes come out of Honolulu and matriculate to University of Washington here in Seattle. Big play here, 3rd down and 6. Jamison comes in motion, out of the gun, Pinniger to throw with time. Now he steps up, he's going to run again, and I don't think he's going to get there. Inside the 20 to the 18, where he is met head on. He fell forward, but he's not going to get credit for that. Lobendown again, the guy who stuffed him. He got 5 yards, but they're going to be about 1.5 yards short And I think this will bring on the field goal team.
Listen to this. Scotty White gets right up under that quarterback and takes him out. Now, Pat Hill wants his quarterback to be physical. He wants his quarterback to attack. I don't think he wants Paul Pinniger lowering his shoulder in a linebacker. But this was a good drive for Fresno State, and they might get a field goal out of it.
Listen, Tanner, very effective field goal kicker. We'll try a 34-yarder. It is on its way, and it is no good. Missed left, so we've had 3 missed field goal tries. 2 by the Huskies, 1 by the Bulldogs. Washington leads it by 7, and we're coming back.
Coming up on the College Football Saturday Halftime Report, I'll be joined by the Hall of Famers, Kellen Winslow and Billy Ray Smith. Scores and highlights on this Sunday of college action, including a tremendous performance by a senior quarterback who may enter into the Heisman equation. It's the College Football Saturday Halftime Report. Barry and Petros, back to you in Seattle.
All right, thanks very much, Mike. 7-0 ball game here with the Washington Huskies leading and really outplaying the Fresno State Bulldogs throughout this first half. Start at the 20-yard line. They will still go with Isaiah Stanback. Why not? Dance with what brung you. There's a play fake. Stanback throws through behind Tuya Sissoko, the intended receiver. Well, there is quite a legacy at both these schools of signal callers. Both have put more than their share into the National Football League. Let's play a little quarterback poker here. We'll give you an idea of what we're talking about. Fresno State, of course, under Pat Hill, he's only had 2 quarterbacks coming into the last couple of years with Pinniger. He's now in his 3rd year with Pinniger, but he's had 2 others. We'll tell you about it a little bit more after this play. Stanback this time gives him a straight handoff to James. Nothing doing as Garcia stops him. Well, we talked about playing a little quarterback poker. Here it is.
Which team do I get?
You get the Huskies. I'll take the Bulldogs, and there's David Carr now into what I think will be a breakout year. Look at that. You got some good cards here.
I'll take your old partner, Warren Moon, Chandler, Billy Joe Hobart. I'll take Brunell. Well, he did win the national championship in 1991.
And he's a good golfer. I'll give you that, too. That started way before. That started, actually, with a guy who used to sit in your chair. Don Heinrich was one of the first great quarterbacks out of Washington to play in the NFL. Play fake. Stanback will run. He is really cracked. Dwayne Andrews right in his grill.
And this is exactly the kind of defensive possession that Fresno State had to have. Nothing demoralizes a team more than driving down and missing a field goal. You take it all the way down there only to have a kicker miss it for you. It's very disheartening. Sometimes your defense can get out there and get run over. Kudos to the Fresno State defense for taking Washington 3 and out in that situation.
Yeah, everybody has made adjustments in this game. I think the Huskies have adjusted to the running game of Fresno State. Now Fresno State maybe has adjusted. There's a bad kick off the side of the foot. That's going to go out about somewhere around the 30-yard line, and it's going to really put Fresno State in business.
What a break for the Bulldogs in this situation. First they take him 3 and out. Sean Douglas, who's a pretty solid punter in the past, just kicks it right off the side of his foot. Looked like the pressure got to him and he just couldn't handle it. An 8-yard kick for the Huskies, and that's not a good situation for Washington at all. Might as well have gone for it.
Well, we're talking about quarterbacks. There are 9 quarterbacks on National Football League rosters from either Fresno State or Washington. Now, we gave you a few of them already, but how many can you name? There are 9. You have the right, he bounces off of one man and he finds a little space, still on his feet, but he got forced backward, and instead of about a 1-yard gain, he was going to wind up with about a 3-yard loss. Benjamin and Lobendon, and how often have we called the name Lobendon?
A whole bunch. Here's a guy that plays with a motor, and he's playing in his first game in a little bit of a while. To tell you how much they think of him, he didn't play that much last year at all, but he's still voted team captain. He's leading this Washington defense right now, and they look a lot more impressive than they thought they were going to look in yesterday's meetings. Maybe the coaches were, you know, telling us a little bit of what they wanted us to hear, that they didn't really know about their defense. These guys are playing hard right now.
Yeah, they are. Phil Snow, the defensive coordinator, the guy has been known to take a lot of chances. You know, truth to tell, he hasn't had to take a lot of chances in this game. They have really put the clamps on Fresno State's offense. Pinniger out of the gun, steps up. Great coverage. Pinniger will run 40, 35 down to the 34-yard line. That is all about coverage. Opoy and Lobendan on the tackle, but Washington secondary is really doing a job.
And that's the interesting thing. Usually if a team can't run the ball, then that means there's some opportunities in the passing game. You don't really see Fresno State being able to run or pass right now. And you see Phil Snow, famous for the old Sawdog blitz, famous for bringing a lot of pressure from the outside in his career all over the Pac-10 as a defensive coordinator. His guys are playing hard for him right now.
And playing pretty straight up football. There's nothing fancy here, no frills. They're just getting it done. 3rd and long, big play for the Bulldogs here. 4-man rush. Pinniger trying to find somebody. Can't again. Now he floats it out here and floats it too tall. Intended for Matt Rivera. And again, can't say enough about the secondary of the Huskies.
Well, that's the strength of this team, and really they're just playing one-on-one, Barry. You talked about it. They're playing a vanilla defense. They're not bringing that much pressure from the outside that Phil Snow's trademark is. They're just playing straight-up defense, and right now they're dominating Fresno. Fresno State had a great opportunity, an 8-yard punt from Washington. They're inside their territory, and they just can't get anything done. They're going to have to punt it away.
Yeah, they got -4 on that possession, and now they will punt and just try to bury the Huskies deep in their own territory. Lingua angles this toward the sideline, and Frederick will make a fair catch on the far hash mark at the 9-yard line. Well, the first down line brought to you by Overstock.com. Visit Overstock.com today. Start saving. It's all about the O. 25-yard punt will have the Huskies start at their own 9-yard line. Pat Hill can't be too happy with what he's seeing out here so far on either side of the ball.
No, certainly not. They're still in the game right now, and it does take some time to get used to playing in an environment like this. But Fresno State's used to traveling all over. They play in Tennessee, play in Wisconsin.
Here's Stanback into James. James slips a tackle, gets to the 15, and he's going to have a first down. Tough 10 yards for James. Sanders makes the tackle.
And if you're the Bulldogs, this is exactly what you don't want to see happening. You don't want Washington to start pounding the ball at you. They run James on just a conventional stretch play. He breaks that arm tackle on the outside. You're going to have to tackle this guy with more than an arm, and finally they wrestle him down, but not after he gets a first down. If Washington can run them over in this drive and take it to the house before the half ends, Fresno State is going to be in big trouble. They want to get out of this half, not giving up any more points.
You can see the offensive yardage, 111 for Washington, but really comparable because that 50-yard play to Tuiasa Sissoko is the difference in the game. Stanback is stopped after the fake handoff at the 20-yard line. Dwayne Andrews not fooled.
Isaiah Stanback showing a lot of maturity on this play, and you don't expect that a lot from a very exciting quarterback. These guys want to make plays. He makes the fake. He's running an option. He makes a cut, and he's got that ball out there like it's a loaf of bread, and he finally just tucks it away. He thought about pitching it out there. That would have been an ill-advised pitch. Those make for exciting plays when they work, but usually that ball ends up on the ground.
No gain on the play. 2nd down and 10. Stanback now 6 carries for 17 yards and a touchdown. Stanback this time going to throw. Short drop, and we got whistles all over the place before the pass was thrown. Let's see what this is all about. Delay a game against the Huskies. Didn't get the play called in time.
And that's also going to happen when you got young quarterbacks out there. A lot of rhythm, a lot of tempo. It all has to be worked out and ironed out in the first game. 2 or 3 games into it, you can't have mistakes like that. But in the first game...
Prior to the snap, delay of game on the offense. 5-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
Gilbertson will take that in the first game.
Just the 2nd penalty on the Washington Huskies. It'll back them up to about the 16-yard line. Bring about a 2nd and 15. Stanback under center this time. James the lone setback. Slot left. Blitz comes. Stanback hit as he throws. And it was Claude Sanders who got to him and cracked him pretty good. Let's go back to that trivia question we asked you just a couple of minutes ago. 9 quarterbacks on National Football League rosters, either from Fresno or from Washington. How many can you name? Well, We mentioned some of them. Trent Dilfer, of course, now back up here in Seattle. In fact, he's somewhere here in the stadium today. David Carr, Billy Volek, the backup to McNair.
The Heward brothers.
Right, one's in Kansas City, one is here in Seattle. Marcus Tuiasosopo, of course, down in Oakland. I'm sure watching this game today, Cody Pickett with the 49ers, and impressive folks.
Did he make that team?
Yes, he did.
I knew he would.
Intercepted, and this is going to be a touchdown. Picked off by James Sanders, and Fresno State is on the board just like that.
This is a young quarterback. James Sanders was pressured by Booker. The nose tackle got up in there. He was on top of him. James Sanders just took that ball right out of the sky. Stanback threw it right to him. That might have been the easiest catch of the day for anybody on the football field. The pressure came. Put it out there for Lions tight end.
And it was the pressure, I think, that forced that ball to be underthrown and right into the hands of Sanders. And just that quickly, it's a tie game, or potentially a tie game. I'm sure that's exactly what Oregon State was saying yesterday against LSU. So the try for point now. Vicentena will try it. It's good, and we're tied. So 2:53 left in the first half. 7-7. 2:53 left first half. 7 Fresno State, 7 Washington. How quickly a game can change.
And Fresno State is lucky to be tied in this one. That was just a bad pass by Isaiah Stanback. And you know what? That's too bad, because he was playing so well. He was really working that offense well. But just a terrible pass by Stanback, putting his team in a bad position right before the half here.
So Frederick will get a chance for another touch here. He handles it at the 7-yard line. The 15 to 20, burst of speed, still on his feet. Finally driven out of bounds to the 28-yard line by Kyle Goodman. Let's take another look at that pass by Stanback, and the interception.
Let's break this down. Stanback taking the snap on a shotgun, so you know he's going to have some time. Here he just starts backing up a little too soon. And when you see Sanders hanging out here on the 20, just lying in wait, kind of lying in the weeds, not a tough play for Sanders to make, just gets right in front of Lyon. Lyon doesn't come back to the football, and Sanders is a great secondary player, one of the best defenders on this team, Fresno State-wise. But you know what? That wasn't that tough of a play to make. Just a really bad pass by Stanback, a bad decision, and he had that offense going, too. It's too bad.
Sanders had a lot of help from his friends, though. Daniel Booker was right in the face of Stanback.
And pressure causes young quarterbacks to make bad decisions. That is why you pressure them. That is why you bring people on a young quarterback. You put yourself at risk a little bit when you bring people on a veteran quarterback. But a young quarterback, if you pressure them, good things are going to happen most of the time. Now, if they burn you on it a few times, then you have to start rethinking your defense.
We're going to kick this over because Fresno State was offside on the kickoff, so Frederick may get another chance here.
I guarantee you nobody on that field wants to run down again on that kickoff. They did it once. They handled Frederick one time. They don't want to see Frederick again. Maybe they'll kick a squib on this one.
And you were saying you got 30 yards to think about how much it's going to hurt when you get there, right?
I was on a kickoff team for years, Barry, and, you know, I was the wedge breaker, the guy that's just got to go in there. No one ever calls your name for making the tackle, and we rarely get ISO camera shots on a wedge breaker, you know what I mean? But all you got to do is run down and think about how much it's going to hurt when you hit somebody, and you can just hear that clickety-clack, clickety-clack, clickety-clack at your pads. Other than that, pretty tough.
Here's a short, very short kick. Frederick runs up, handles it at the 20-yard line. Starts one way, now he goes the other way. He's at the 30 and slips and falls. And he might have had a little bit more room had he have not slipped. Jaron Fairman makes the tackle. So the Huskies will start just short of the 30-yard line, call it the 29-yard line. 2:43 left in the half. We're tied at 7. Casey Paz will be back at quarterback now. This is by design. I don't think it's because of that bad pass thrown by Stanback. There's a blitz coming. And Paz now looking for help. Still on his feet. Flag is down, and so is Paz at the 30-yard line. Flag right in the middle of the field, and I'm guessing hold here.
That's about the area of the field that you usually see a hold, especially when the quarterback's on the move and doesn't get rid of the ball in time.
There you see the call, holding against Washington. Seven ball game with 2 minutes, 35 seconds remaining to be played here at Husky Stadium in Seattle. Fresno State, a 19-yard interception return for a touchdown by James Sanders. Washington with an 8-yard touchdown run by Isaiah Stanback. This will back the Huskies up to the 19-yard line. Fresno State gambling a little bit more. They're blitzing more than they were earlier. They came that time, and it busted the play pretty much.
Gilby might not be moving these quarterbacks in and out by design, but miraculously both of them were removed after having pretty bad series.
That is true. There are the numbers on Casey Paz so far. There's a blitz coming again. And it was a pretty good run blitz because the blitzer smacked right into the ball carrier. And again, a late flag comes in. Kyle Goodman was the guy who was coming, and a lot of contact.
We've seen a few penalties in the first half of this game, haven't we?
Let's see what Fresno does with this one. It's going to go against Washington, I believe. Chop block. Blocking below the knee.
They're saying that's an illegal cut block. Usually that happens when a slot guy comes in on somebody that's inside the box and cuts out their legs, because you can cut a guy if he's right in front of you. You just don't want to cut him too much, because then they start thinking that you don't want to hit him in the mouth. And you never want somebody out there on the football field thinking that you don't want to hit him in the mouth.
On the offense, number 18. Penalties enforced half the distance to the goal. Still first down.
Well, that's going to back the Huskies way up, short of their own 10-yard line. Fourth penalty on the Washington Huskies.
And that's on Corey Williams. See if we can see him come flying in there. There he is right up there. Comes flying in from right outside the box into the box on the side of the leg. That's what you don't want to do. That's illegal.
Pause this time on the option, and he is wrapped up right now by Claude Sanders. What a play by Sanders.
Sanders is playing a heck of a game so far. He's had a batted pass, he's had a quarterback hurry, and there he is versus the option. Paz doesn't quite have, you see, the explosiveness that Stanback has in the option, but you can't be one-dimensional with either of those quarterbacks. Gilbertson has really got to play both systems with that, and you see Sanders flying in there and just physically making the tackle, smothering Paz. Paz went down very wisely. Sometimes you can stay up in those situations, but you don't want to.
Loss of 2. Huskies back at their own 8-yard line now. Second down and 1,000,000. There's a give to James. James trying to bust it outside, ran over his own man, Tuiasosopo. Picked up about 2, maybe 3 yards.
Now that was a zone running play, and James made a mistake that a lot of young backs do. He cut it back just a little too early. It looks really meaty back there, especially when you first get the ball. See James get the ball, and there's the hole, but he makes that cut back a little too early, and he gets caught up, especially on top of his own fullback trying to block on the backside. Dwayne Andrews makes the tackle. You got to sell that front side when you run zone. You take that handoff. You have to take 2 steps toward that front side before you make that cutback. Otherwise, that hole's going to close in a hurry, and you saw it close for James.
Fresno State with a timeout. You know, one of sports' most respected reporters is coming to FSN in head-to-head with James Brown. JB a visit with Packers quarterback Brett Favre to find out what motivates him to just keep gunning for another title. Plus, Jay Glazer gets the work out of his life with the Bears linebacker Brian Urlacher. It's head-to-head with James Brown tonight, only on FSN. 1:25 left. Fresno State will have 1 timeout remaining. And they will get the ball back, ostensibly in pretty good field position.
They sure will. They're catching a break here in the second quarter. First of all, with the interception and the bad pass, and they had a great defensive series right now. And we'll see if their offense can get something going. Fresno State's offense has been very anemic here in the first half, and you didn't expect that with Henniger back and healthy, and Dwayne Wright running the ball, a 1,000-yard rusher, Bryson Sumlin backing him up. We really thought Fresno State was going to come with something offensively. They've been stifled by the UW defense in the first half.
Third down and 28. Paz will start under center, slot right. And they give it to James. James running left, and he is still on his feet, finally dragged down at the 20-yard line, and there's 1:15 remaining, and See if Fresno burns its last time out. I think they will. So they'll have 1 minute and 12 seconds, which, of course, in college football is an eternity.
It's a long time because that clock stops after you get a first down. And Paul Pinniger is really made for the 2-minute offense. His coaches love talking about how he's great at calling plays at the line of scrimmage, getting them in the right protection, and getting those guys right up at the line of scrimmage and ready to make plays. Let's see him run the 2-minute offense. It's going to be exciting to see.
Coming up at halftime in just about 1 minute and 15 seconds, Mike Kellen and Billy Ray will bring you up to date on everything that's happening in college football, all the scores, all the highlights. We'll also preview next week in the Pac-10 Conference. If you just joined us, here's what happened so far, and here's what you missed. Little option play, and Isaiah Stanback, 8 yards for the first score of the game. That followed a 50-yard run by Zach Tuiasosopo. And then it was the interception by Sanders off an ill-advised throw by Stanback, 19 yards, and Fresno State had equal. Now Fresno State will get it back, and as you said, the clock will stop on first downs. That said, Fresno State has only 3 first downs in this first half. 1 of them came on a penalty. 2 of them came on broken plays.
They have not really established anything offensively, and this is a team that has an identity going into this football game as a running football team. That's their identity. That's what they want to do, but they have to stick with it and be meticulous about it. And if they can't run the football, they're going to be in tough shape because they don't have the big play receivers this year. Nobody proven yet to go to and really stretch that field vertically. They really need to set that up with the run and use the play action.
See if Fresno State comes after this punt. And they do, but they don't get it. Short punt. Jennings runs upfield to the 40-yard line. Stopped immediately. Nice open field tackle that time for the Washington Huskies by Shackelford. Well, no, it's Johnson. They had 2 number 21s. I took a guess. I was wrong. It's Johnson.
Sonny Shackelford, a wide receiver. Wide receivers don't always make those plays in special teams. They're not the greatest tacklers in the history of football. Derek Johnson, not really known as a physical tackler, but also known as one of the greatest cover corners in the country this year. Probably the best cover corner in the Pac-10. He knows how to cover somebody up like a blanket.
Yeah, they are doing a great job on coverage, incidentally. They have just not allowed Paul Pinniger anything. Pinniger just 3 of 5. For only 28 yards in the first half. They got a long way to go, 60 yards. Pinniger straight back, blitz comes, screen, that's the right call, but Washington recovered very well. Nice play again by Joe Lobendon, who just was not fooled. The first down line brought to you by Overstock.com, your online outlet. It's all about the O.
See that little ghost screen run by Fresno State, meant to fool Washington, and like you said, Lobendon not fooled at all. They tried to get on the perimeter with the speed of Jennings. Was not happening, but they're trying to be a little more creative here because the run's not working, and they're not really running the 2-minute offense yet, Barry.
They go out of the gun once again. Fernandez near side, Jennings far side, Pinniger straight back. He's going to air it out, and it's knocked down by guess who? Joe Lobendon. I mean, this guy has just been everywhere today. He's my MVP so far, partner.
He is the MVP of this team right now. He is all over the field, making a lot of plays, mostly in the run game. Here you see him in the pass game. He's going to drop back into the zone. And there he is, just floating. He's got his tight end looking around. He uses his eyes, gets up, not a tall man, but gets up and slaps that ball down. Almost could have had an interception had he seen the ball a little sooner. Lobendon is all over the field and playing with a motor.
Third down, double slot for Fresno State. Pinniger's got to feel a little frustrated right now. Again, he's in trouble. Now he steps up, a little clear out this time for Rivera, and Rivera's going to get the first down across midfield. So that will stop the clock momentarily while the chains are moved. 47 ticks left, a gain of 11. And Pinniger's earning everything he's getting, I'll tell you that.
And again, Fresno not establishing anything offensively. Rivera is their check down back in that situation. Nobody else was open. These guys are being covered.
Again out of the gun. Over the middle, this time intercepted. Picked off by Benjamin. And Benjamin at the 45, at the 40, knocked out of bounds. So the frustration continues for the Bulldogs. And now it is the Huskies who have a little chance to get a little something before the half.
A little something for Evan Benjamin. This is a guy who used to be a strong safety. He's used to being back there in the pass game. They moved him up to that outside linebacker spot, and he just lays in wait Henniger puts a lot on this ball, and Benjamin just snatches it out of the sky, threw it right at his face, takes it back, puts a move on the quarterback a little bit. That's the guy you want to put a move on. And a great play for Evan Benjamin. And a big break for the Huskies. They might have a chance to score here.
They're right. They got it at the 42-yard line. They still have all 3 timeouts remaining, so they will be able to stop the clock. Short drop this time by Paz. Throws, caught by Daniels, and out of bounds at the 35-yard line. Gain of 7, and they don't have to burn a timeout.
Now, we've seen both Washington kickers struggle in this game. Sean Douglas, the punter, he's a new punter, not having that great of a day. He had that 8-yard punt. That's going to hurt his average this season. And Evan Knudsen, not really that confident right now in his home stadium. So Washington might want to just go for the end zone, take a couple cracks at it right now.
2nd down and 3. Pause, straight back, clear out this time, and it's dropped by Russo. He also had the tight end Crutchley wide open over the middle. He had his choice.
And Russo turned a little late on that ball. I think he had a hard time finding it. He got his hands up in time. As you see him running what we call an arrow route, turns back in. Didn't look like he could see the ball in that situation.
He might have thought that the ball was intended for the tight end.
And the ball bounced off Booker's head, the nose tackle, getting his hands up. Probably a low-throwing ball. These quarterbacks have to find spaces to get the ball through. Paz didn't find the space on that one.
3rd down now and 3. Pause, straight back again. Throws, threw it behind Ryan, the intended receiver. Well, we have not seen the quarterback position be a thing of beauty here so far. It's 4th down. And what do you do here? Just run another play and don't depend on your kicker. 52-yard kick from here. And that's
maybe
what they're
just
going to do.
Down it or run the football. Kind of in no man's land right now.
4th and 3. Clock ticks down. 20, well, now it's stopped with 23 seconds left. Stopped on the incomplete pass. Frederick goes to the far side. Paz rolls to his right. Gonna throw. Steps up. Throws. Intercepted. And once more it is Dials. And Dials is going to get this back to the 39-yard line. There are 13 seconds left. And now Fresno State will have a chance here.
That's a very awkward call and something strange. You know, that's the one thing you don't want to do is throw it out in the flat and get a 37-yard return from Juan Dials. 5'8", 182 pounds, not a big corner, but he knows when that ball is badly thrown. He gets right in front and takes it down the sideline.
Pause. It makes the tackle. We've seen quarterbacks make 4 tackles in this game. What's wrong with this picture?
A lot of interceptions, a lot of turnovers in the game.
Exactly. So now Pinniger, he'll need at least 10 yards here to give his kicker a chance. They have no timeouts. They can't stop the clock. So he's got to throw at least 10 yards. Straight back he goes. Throws a screen. I'm not sure about that play. And that's the way the half's going to end, because they cannot stop the clock. And that's probably one that I think Pat Hill might like to have back. But the half is going to end on kind of a sloppy note, with the Fresno State Bulldogs scoring on an interception return. Washington Huskies scoring after a 50-yard run. It is 7-7 at the half. Right now, let's take you back to our Kyocera College Football Saturday studio and Mike Goldberg. Mike. Welcome back. We prepare to start the second half. Barry Tompkins, my partner, Petros Papadakis. And Petros, really, in my opinion, this first half was a half of 2 plays.
It sure was. And you know what? Keith Gilbertson told us yesterday, and it's no secret to people that know football, that the key to football games are big plays. Now, Washington had 2 big plays. One of them was the big run by Zach Tuiasosopo. The fullback just breaks free on this triple option. And trust me, he did not expect to go that far, but he took it all the way to 8. That set up a touchdown by Isaiah Stanback. Unfortunately for Washington, the other big play went against him. Isaiah Stanback backing up, throws the ball. Very easy interception for the James Sanders, the very special secondary player for the Fresno State Bulldogs. And that's it. 2 plays, and we got a 7-7 game. A very sloppily played first half.
Let's take a look at some of the numbers brought to you by Gillette. 7-7. As you see, Fresno State only had 4 first downs. 2 of them came on broken plays. 1 came on a penalty. So you know they got to improve that. They could only throw for 34 yards. Credit Washington's defense with that. Each team with 2 turnovers. The possession goes back to Washington. I have to think that this is all going to come down to who makes the right adjustments.
And we'll see what happens. Fresno State's going to get the ball here. We'll see if Pat Hill's anger can be embodied in their very first offensive possession. I'm sure Pat Hill wasn't very kind to them at halftime.
Very good kickoff, and there'll be no return of this. So Fresno will start at the 20-yard line. Fresno in the first half, as you can see, really a half of frustration. They had good field position on occasion, couldn't do anything with it. And just by and large, just the offense did not produce anything. So they're going to have to make some changes. There's no question about it. And as I said, I think whoever can make those changes is going to win the game.
And we can criticize this Fresno offense all we want, but the truth is the Washington defense, especially those corners, Johnson and Cunningham, are doing a great job.
Yeah, that's been the story of the game, I think. Fresno starts in the I formation. In motion this time comes Fernandez. And the give is to Wright. And Wright cuts it back. He gets a little something out of nothing. He picked up about 4. Joe Lobendon again. And is that a name we've been calling a lot?
MVP of the game thus far. Lobendon is really playing like a man possessed. He's happy to be back on that football field. We see Fresno State with a good 5-yard run, 4-yard run on the first play of the second half. This is what they need to do. They need to be methodical. They started a drive like this before. They have to stick with it. Lobendon with 9 tackles today, 4 tackles for loss. That's a season for some people.
Yeah, that is impressive. Here's Wright again, this time right up the middle. Gets to about the 29 to be about a yard short of the first down. And Joe Lobendon makes the tackle. I feel like I'm being redundant.
Maybe they're just not blocking him and blocking everybody else. Lobendon is taking on guards, taking on fullbacks, and shedding them. Adams is having a hard time, the fullback for Fresno State, blocking this guy and staying on top of him. When you block a guy like Lobendon, especially when he's a lot lower than you, you have to try to get as low as you can. You got to bring your feet behind you.
Give it to the fullback this time, and that is Adams, and I don't know. He's going to be close. I think he probably has the first down across the 30-yard line. So Fresno State with a first down on 3 running plays. And we should point out, Fresno State comes out in the second half, 2 tight ends, 1 wide out.
And you know what? I think Pat Hill got in that locker room, and I think there was weeping and moaning and gnashing of teeth. I think he was very upset with his team. Not really because of the score, because it's a tie game. Of course they have a chance to win. He wants them to be physical. And right now they were being physically dominated on that offensive line. Guys like Lobendon making big plays. They need to run the ball here.
They stay with the same offensive set. Only this time they bring the fullback up on the wing. And quick toss, 1 hopper. He got. Actually, what happened there is the pressure was so good coming up the middle by the Huskies that they knocked the center, Kyle Young, right back into Pinniger.
That's the one thing a center can't do in that situation, Barry, is get knocked back, especially when you have a no-step drop, just a quick pass out to the flat. And Pinniger drops back and gets knocked by his own center. That's the one thing you don't want to happen. But again, Washington's front 7 is doing a great job and really pounding that Fresno State offensive line. Fresno State's supposed to have the best offensive line, one of the best on the West Coast, even though they're not a Pac-10 team.
Lobendon might have tweaked his right hand a little bit, but I can almost assure you he will be back. See him pacing on the sideline. 2nd and 10. This time Fairman comes in motion. Straight back Pinniger. He's got time. He throws underneath. The ball's caught by Fairman and a first down and more to the 45-yard line. It was McDonald, Devin McDonald, who made the catch. Devin McDonald listed as the 4th tight end. Makes the catch and gets the first down.
This is really the first play you see Pinniger settle down, get in his set, have a nice motion, throw the ball, and it's caught. And McDonald's a big physical tight end. He's able to get that first down. That's really the best I've seen Pinniger look in this game. It's shocking.
Out of the I formation again. And it is McDonald who is up on the wing to the right side. Pinniger, play fake and a throw. Looking deep this time for McDonald. Double coverage and almost intercepted. Threw that one right into coverage, and Deshaun Goldson had a better chance at it than McDonald.
Now, this is Fresno State's system. They want to pound the ball, and then they want to stretch the field. They want to stretch the field with play action. You see the play action fake. McDonald sort of opens for a second, but then he gets into double coverage, and that ball was up for grabs. Not a great throw by Pinnaker. Ball was overthrown in the first place. Second of all, the guy was double covered. Fresno State still rhythmless offensively.
2nd down and 10. Ball at the 45-yard line. 3 tight ends in the game now. Jennings, the lone wide receiver, to the near side. In motion comes Jennings. Pinnaker give to Wright. Wright running the short side, slips one man, and gets ahead across midfield to about the 48-yard line. The Washington Huskies going to be about 3 yards short of the first down. And a 7 for Wright on that short side sweep. Scott White, Deshaun Goldson on the stop.
And Wright seems to be settling down a little bit. They're going to need a heavy dose of him. One of these running backs is going to have to go well over 100 yards if Fresno State is going to have a chance to win this game on the road.
They're marking at the 49. Call it 3rd down and 3, and it's a long 3. Really closer to 4. That gets the crowd involved, of course. Pinnaker starts a 3-step drop, and a flag falls. And did he take too much time? We'll see.
Prior to the snap, false start on the offense, number 82.
So
5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
Bulldogs just kind of self-destructing. Mark Wood was the guy who left a little early. And now it's 3rd and 8.
And Pat Hill has got to be fuming on that sideline. Finally, they get a little bit going on offense. They get a first down, they have a shot at another one, and all of a sudden you get a false start on 3rd and 3. That's not the way you want to start out the second half. Those little 5-yard penalties, they don't seem like a big deal. They kill you.
So it is 3rd down and 8. Now the Huskies, who are usually a gambling defense, have not done that today. They got to get this play off, and they just do. Here comes a blitz this time. Pinnaker going to air it out. And it is caught this time by Williams, and Williams is out of bounds at the 10-yard line. He just hung it up there, and Paul Williams came back and got it. 44 yards.
And that is by far the biggest offensive play we've seen Fresno State pull out today. They bring Lobendon on the blitz, which is well picked up by the guard. Pinnaker puts it up. Paul Williams separates from Cunningham and is able to make that catch. That's a tough catch to make, that readjustment in the air. Paul Williams making a fine play. Their 3rd or 4th wide receiver out there.
It's a great shot. Hit him right in the hands. He had to come back to make that catch, and that's very tough on a defender. Ball at the 11-yard line. Fresno State in business. Out of the I formation. Give it to Wright. Wright stutter steps and isn't going to get anything. I thought maybe one of the Huskies might have departed a little bit early that time, but no flag. Scott White makes the tackle.
Now here we'll really see what this Washington defense is made of. They've been solid all day. They've had a lot of pride all day. They haven't given up a lot of running yards. They haven't given up a lot of anything to Fresno State. Now Fresno State is threatening inside that red zone. We'll see what Washington's made of here.
2nd and 11. The ball at the 12-yard line. They go in the offset eye this time. McDonald comes in motion. Pinnaker going to throw. Looks to the end zone. Slam. Caught. Touchdown. Joe Fernandez on the catch, and a 12-yard score, and the Bulldogs have gone on top.
Perfectly executed slant play you see there, Barry. Joe Fernandez, son, of course, of Swervin' Mervin Fernandez, only 5'10", only 165 pounds, but he's got 4.3 speed. They say he's got the best hands on the team. Run the slant right inside the safety, makes the catch, takes a punishing blow for it. That's a touchdown for Fresno State. They take the lead. Can you believe it?
That was an impressive drive. It was the only drive. Fresno's going to have to burn a timeout here, or the Huskies are going to have to burn a timeout, because they might not have had the right people on the field. And Phil Snow shaking his head saying, what went wrong? See, they had 12 people on the field, so Washington at least recognized it. They'll call a timeout. Means they only have 2 left. 80-yard drive in 10 plays. And the Dogs lead. Welcome back. Fresno State will try the extra point. Take a look at the T-Mobile scoring drive. We talked about 10 plays, 80 yards. Big play, a 44-yard pass. And then the touchdown to Fernandez. 3 minutes, 43 seconds. Try for point now is on its way, and it is good. And Fresno State has taken a 7-point lead. And we talk about adjustments, and early in the second half, it seems to be Pat Hill who's made the proper adjustments. Washington Huskies will have it for the first time when we come back. College Football Saturday on Fox Sports Net is presented by Kyocera Wireless Phones. All the features, none of the hassles. By the Home Depot, you can do it, we can help. And by the never-before-seen unrated Mile High edition of Soul Plane. Get it on DVD September 7th. Welcome back. Vincentainer to kick it away, and Charles Frederick making another chance here. He has been very quiet so far today, and they kick it right to him. Short kick, runs up, takes it to the 13-yard line in the 20. And that's it. Great pursuit by Fresno as they stop Frederick at the 25-yard line. Chico Mackey, first man to him. Washington in the first half had that one drive, 50-yard play. Of course, needless to say, the key play in that drive, a 9-play, 87-yard drive that resulted in the Huskies' touchdown. But we talk about the second half being one of adjustments, and now there's going to be something to learn here, Petros.
In the third quarter, in this very third quarter that we're about to watch, we may be very well seeing the future of the Washington season. Which of these quarterbacks, is it going to be Casey Paz or Isaiah Stanback? Which of them is going to say, this is my team, I'm going to lead them to victory?
Both have made mistakes. Both have had their moments. Huskies start at the 26. Pause the quarterback. Here comes a blitz off the edge, and they give us to James. He doesn't get much, about 2. Stop at about the 28-yard line. Might have gotten to the 29. Give him 3 yards on the play. Call it 2nd and 7.
And we haven't seen much of Frederick. You know, I thought that they would get him the ball on screens and reverses and flip it to him and get him going in a lot of different ways, but Fresno State's done a great job on him, but look for Washington to be a little more creative in getting Frederick the ball. He is their big playmaker. He's the guy that's going to have to score some touchdowns here in the second half if they are going to make a comeback. Washington's dominated this game. It's surprising to see him down.
Washington coming with that same offensive set that Fresno did. That is 3 tight ends and 1 wideout. Pause on the option. Keeps it. Is stopped immediately by Garcia, who stayed home nicely.
Now that's one thing that you can adjust to at halftime is how to play that option. I don't think Pat Hill's Fresno State Bulldog defense was ready for that option. At least they weren't ready for the heavy dose of option that they got. Now they kind of have it down. All you have to do is play man. You get one guy on the fullback, one guy on the quarterback, and somebody's got to have the pitch man. Now it's easier said than done, but when it all works out, the option looks kind of ugly, and that's why you don't see it in college football a whole bunch anymore unless you're playing right.
3rd down and 6. And they'll go from the gun. Frederick to the near side and jumping a little early that time was Khalif Barnes. So that'll cost the Huskies 5 more. And now it'll be 3rd and 11.
And that'll happen when you run shotgun, especially in the first game. Everybody's timing gets a little screwed up. You're waiting for that snap, and you're almost like a defensive guy in the shotgun. You're looking at the ball just like the guys on defense. Interesting that they're calling out numbers this year, Barry. A lot of guys going to be humiliated.
First time, huh?
Calling out names.
It's at the referee's option. They doesn't have to do it. They go out of the shotgun. Pause to throw, throws underneath. Ball's caught by Tuiasosopo. He's got a first down and more. To the 45, taking people with him just short of midfield. Nate Ray finally drags him down. 22-yard gain.
This is the second time we've seen Zach Tuiasosopo in the passing game on 3rd down converting. He runs kind of like a Bronco play where he just comes right off the edge. He was wide open in the flat. That's easy money for the Washington Huskies.
So the Huskies with a big first down and a big play of 22 yards. They spotted at the 49-yard line. Sopo, a huge part of this offense, much more so than usual. There's a blitz coming off the edge. They pick it up. Paz throws it away. Corey Williams was knocked out of bounds. He might have been the intended receiver. He has not been a real factor today.
He hasn't, and Corey Williams is a guy that you expected big things from. At least people out here in Seattle did, just because of one of the last plays of the game on the last game of last season. He's the guy that had that 21-yard touchdown catch to beat the Washington State Cougars in the Apple Cup. And he pulled that off as a true freshman. He only had 5 receptions on the year. 2 of them were touchdowns, but that last touchdown, that guy etched himself into Husky lore forever.
That was a big one. 2nd down and 10. Pause, play fake. Look out! James Sanders just didn't give Casey Paz a breath.
They say they like to bring Sanders off the edge. Wow, did he time that up perfectly. You see him coming on the blitz from the outside. Times up the snap. Paz never saw him coming. Somebody's got to have that backside. That can't be on Paz. That's a blown protection there by the Husky offensive line in their back.
7-yard loss on the play, and now it's 3rd and 17. They got the dime package in for Fresno State, 6 defensive backs, and they do like to blitz off of this. They don't. They come with a 4-man rush. And Paz will throw it. He had a man out there, but he threw it behind Corey Williams. And you have the feeling sometimes that may not be on the quarterback. That may be the route that Williams ran.
Well, a lot of the time in these more sophisticated offenses, and we've seen it really develop in the Pac-10 more than anywhere in the country. The Pac-10's kind of like the finesse pioneers of football, you know what I mean? All that stuff starts in the Pac-10. And you have these routes that are supposed to change mid-play, and sometimes the quarterback and the receiver can't get on the same page. That's what happened with Paz and Williams on that.
So Douglas will do the punting. A wobbly kick. Jennings runs up, takes it at the 20, and is just popped by Johnson as he catches the ball. That's 2 good plays on special teams by Johnson. And we'll jump away with 8:05 remaining, and early in the second half, Fresno State starting to take the play away from the Washington Huskies. They lead by 7 with the ball. 14-7 ball game. Fresno State will take over at its own 21-yard line. Last time it had possession, it went 80 yards. 2 big plays. This one to Paul Williams. Then right on the carry. Here's the big play to Williams right here. Had to come back to make the catch, but he did. 44 yards and then the touchdown to Fernandez. Here's Wright on the first snap on this possession. And he gets it up to about the 28-yard line. And Dwayne Wright starting to run a little bit now, too.
That was the most physical run of the day thus far for Wright. And you start to feel it, Barry. We talked about it at the break. You start to feel the momentum slowly shifting over to the Fresno State Bulldogs. And this is the type of team you don't want to give momentum to. When that momentum changes on the sideline, it's almost like you can feel it. You know, you can feel the air coming off of one sideline and going into the other. You can just tell in the faces of the guys standing there. Fresno State's going to run that football and look physical. They're going to win this football.
2nd down and 3 when you can get 7 yards on 1st down. That makes 2nd and 3rd a lot easier. They go out of the I formation, and I don't know. I don't know who this is going to go against. It was Mark Wood who jumped, but was he? The Huskies were jumping around in there too, and I don't know. Do they draw him off? We'll see.
False start on the offense, number 82. 5-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
So it's Mark Wood. Guilty party.
And check out Wood at the top of the screen. Just gets a little jittery in there, starts bouncing around like a kid in one of those bouncy things at a birthday party, and he knows he was wrong. And what can you do? You just look at somebody else. You look at the other guys on the team like they're going to make it better or vindicate you in some way, and they never do. They just stare right back at you.
So now it's 2nd down and 8. Pinniger rolling to his right, has time, throws underneath, almost intercepted. It is intercepted. Picked off by Deshaun Goldson. And now it's the Huskies who are in business. And there is a discussion going on to see if that was, in fact, an interception or if the ball hit the ground. So let's not be too hasty here. Incomplete pass.
Either way, Deshaun Goldson is around that football. He recovered a fumble in the 1st quarter. Let's see if he got this interception.
I don't think so.
I don't know. Looks like his hands might have been on that ball, but the ball did hit the ground. That's a tough call.
That's a big break for Fresno State. Washington was going to be in business right around the 25-yard line.
They were a little worried about Deshaun Goldson because he's not a big safety. He seems to be a ball hawk in his first game with the Huskies.
Bulldogs going out of the gun, the crowd's involved, and a flag comes in.
Dead ball. False start. On the offense, number 74, 5-yard penalty, still third down.
Here's our FoxSports.com poll, and we're going to ask you what was something we were just talking about. Is instant replay good for college football? 68% of you say yes, 32% say no, it's not. I'm in favor. I like it.
You like it?
Yeah, I do.
There's so many pauses in the game already.
I agree with that. But you hate to see games won or lost on calls that should have been or should not have been. Third down now in a bunch, and the crowd getting involved. Out of the gun again. Look out. There's a shovel pass. It's loose. That's going to be an incomplete pass anyway, but that is not a lateral. Pitched ahead. It's considered a forward pass. It'll be fourth down. Somebody ran right out of their shoe. Did you ever blow a shoe?
A couple times. Only on turf. And this is turf. Nobody wants that shoe.
That's right. Just bronze it.
Fresno State's always going to get in trouble when they go backwards offensively because they don't have a big play offense. I mean, we've seen them complete some big passes, but those are anomalies for them. They want to run the football. When they get offsides and stuff like that, they're just shooting themselves in the foot.
So Lingua will do the punting. He's been very effective so far today. Huskies come after this. Lingua gets it out of there. A short, wobbly kick. And they will let this bounce. It bounces sideways, and the Huskies will have excellent field position. A short punt by Lingua. Well, College Football Saturday returns this week with a Big 12 doubleheader. First of all, these same Fresno State Bulldogs will invade Manhattan, Kansas to do battle with 12th-ranked Kansas State. And Heisman hopeful Darren Sproles. Then Wyoming will go to Texas A&M. It all begins Saturday at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific on FSF. Wyoming got a big win. Texas A&M was clocked.
Cowboys.
By Utah.
I love them because they wear brown. Don't see a lot of brown in college football.
You don't. No, it's not a fighting color.
Brown and gold.
Huskies now out of the gun. Blitz comes. Clear out. Here's Frederick. Look out. 40, 35. Down to the 32-yard line. Brian Morris runs him down, but he's a load. Marcus Riley was coming on a blitz, but Paws got rid of it that time. Gain of 15.
Here we're looking at Frederick running a drive route, comes right underneath. Nobody messes with him. Those are hard routes to complete, especially with pressure, and you see the hips on him, just moving all around the field. Frederick's really some of the best moves in the Pac-10. Is he exciting to watch? And his hair flies in a different direction than he's going, so it almost kind of like appears that he's everywhere on the field.
Well, two ways at once. There's a pitch this time and a reversal. Here's Frederick again at the 40. And there's a, looked like a clip to me, and he stopped all the way back at the 38-yard line. The flag does come in. I have to think that that's a clip against Washington, but what do I know?
It's a clip, and he blocked him right into him. It wasn't a good clip. He blocked Marshall right into Fredericks on the play. We said that Fredericks were going to get involved a little bit.
You know, I want to mention while we have just a moment, Charles Frederick, of course, comes from the state of Florida and is very concerned about the hurricane down there, and wanted us to give a shout out to his parents, tell him that he was thinking of both of them, his dad Charles in Lake Worth, Florida, and his mom Claire Pearson up in Delray Beach, Florida.
On the offense, number 74. Penalty is declined. Down will be 2 at the end of the run.
Is that the first shout out you've ever given, Barry?
Yeah, that's the first one this year.
And here's the clip. Khalif Barnes coming back and clips Marshall right into Frederick. Either way, it got declined.
6-yard loss, and they'll take that play. Second down, 16. Fresno is kind of putting its ears back a little bit more defensively here in the second half. There's that shovel pass to Frederick. Slips the first one.
Can't slip the second. Gets to about the 32, back to the original line of scrimmage. Claude Sanders makes the stop. First guy doesn't get him very much.
Not very often, and I don't know about that call by Coach Gilbertson. I mean, the first time you run that little gimmick play, that's cool. The second time it went for about 2 yards. Now, the only reason that one was a positive gain was because of the athleticism of Frederick. Option shovel pass, not really your bread and butter offensively. If it is, you might be in a little trouble.
Bulldogs trying to hustle somebody off, and they get him off. Third down and long, 3rd and 11. Pause, straight back again. He has time this time. Throws, caught nicely by Russo, but it's short of the first down. But we got a flag down, and I don't know. I thought I might have seen a face mask there, but let's see. Sanders is the guy who's saying, "Who me?" And a discussion amongst the officials. And it is going to go against Fresno State.
Little Anthony Russo's a small receiver, only 180 pounds. He's a slot guy. Let's see if we can see Sanders holding him here. Might have had the hand on the back of Russo there.
It's a hold against Fresno State. And an automatic first down. That's the kind of stuff makes Pat Hill crazy.
Well, this is not the type of game he enjoys coaching. His run game has not really gotten going well. Defensively, he's had a plethora of penalties, all different kinds of penalties. And the rhythm of this game has been very discombobulated. Both these teams really trying to feel their way out. Neither of them has established an identity yet, especially offensively.
That's absolutely true. There's a pitch this time to James, who juggles it. Now he picks it up. He's got a little bit of room. Gets down about the 15-yard line before being forced out of bounds. Marcus Riley ran him out for a gain of 6 for Kenny James.
Kenny James is a good back, and I'm starting to enjoy watching him. I like him. He's inside, he's out, he's very physical. Kind of bowling ball-esque. Only 5'10", 215 pounds. He's got good size.
He's from Dos Palos, which is right down near Fresno. Second down and 4. They go out of the I formation this time. They run the option out of this sometimes, too. Pitch to James, short side. James cuts back, a little room at the 10-yard line. And he'll have a first down for the Huskies. Dash Crutchley with a nice lead block that time. I like that name, Dash Crutchley.
It's a cool name. We see this great cutback by James. He's following his fullback, Tui Asasopo. Tui gets out there, and then you see that big, beautiful hole, and he sees it there. You can see his eye just peeking over the offensive lineman. Takes a cutback, jumps over a couple legs that are strewn across the battlefield, and gets you a first down.
At the 11-yard line. So now the Huskies threatening to tie this football game. Pause again, straight back, throws underneath for Tui Asasopo, makes the catch, and is upended. A nice open field tackle by Richard Marshall at about the 8-yard line. Gain of 3.
And that's the way you get Tui Asasopo down. You got to tackle his legs. No cornerback, especially a 190-pound cornerback like Marshall is going to want to take that fullback on, all 250 pounds of him up top. He makes the right decision. Tui Asasopo tried to get up over him. That's what you have to do, and a wise fullback does that. They know guys running for their legs, so they just try to take a little hop step. Wasn't far enough off the ground that time to get the first down.
Well, just inside the 8-yard line. Second down and 7. They can make a first down without making a touchdown. Again, they go from the I formation, bring Frederick in motion. Now he starts back the other way to the long side. They're looking for Frederick, and he can't hang on. Nice job defensively that time by Raymond Washington. Washington almost picked that ball. Frederick did a good job to get his body in front of Washington.
And Paws put a lot on the ball. You see they got Frederick in motion here. He's moving all over the field. They only got 3 tight ends. This is the only running route they have going, and he runs a quick slant, and they can't get it in. Washington was right inside the whole time. Great coverage.
Sanders was there like a seagull, just waiting for the scraps. Third down and 7. Single setback, slot left, Shackelford in the slot. Straight back pause, looks, end zone. Frederick, he missed him. Frederick had a step. Pause missed it.
And Pause was really hurried there by Garrett McIntyre, 6'3", 250 pounds. They love this guy. He's a former walk-on, came out of nowhere, really became second-team all-WAC in 2003. Here's a guy that plays tackle and end. He came around on a loop, pressured Pause, and caused that incomplete pass.
Michael Bronstein will try the field goal. Knudsen tried the first two and missed them. Now Bronstein will try a 25-yarder, his first ever field goal attempt. He gets it up and he gets it through. And with a lot to spare, so I think Keith Gilbertson has found himself a place kicker here. 4:25 left, 4-point game. Now Bronstein with his first ever field goal, first attempt, first make, so he is perfect. It is a 4-point game. Fresno State leading 14-10. Here's Douglas's kickoff, and he drives this pretty good, and I don't think Jennings is going to have a shot at this all the way out of the end zone. Well, you can catch more college football on Fox College Sports. To see if you get Fox College Sports, contact your local cable provider. Call 1-877-2GET-FCS or log on to foxcollegesports.com.
You use the computer a lot?
I do.
Really?
Yes, I do.
I'm learning to turn one on.
That's
Rumor
good.
is that there's a button in the back, but I'm not sure.
I know there's one that says on. That's as much as I know.
I wrote out all my papers in college.
I've seen your handwriting.
Like John Keats.
Bulldogs start at the 20-yard line. Out of the I formation. It's a big drive here. Give it to Wright straight ahead. He gets nothing. Mike Mapuola-Sega makes the stop. Didn't think I could say that, did you?
Now, it was a lot easier last year when it was just Mike Mapu, but he went for the longer name this year. And he lost a lot of weight, so, you know, he lost about 40 pounds. He's right out of American Samoa. He's a junior. Lost about 20, 30, 40 pounds. So I guess he figured he had to make up for it or something. He went for that longer name.
From Pango in American Samoa.
It's a tough flight to get there.
A lot of players come out of there, though. Second down and 9. Donald in motion. Play fake. Pinnaker going to throw. Got a man. It's caught this time by Fernandez. First down. Bulldogs at the 36-yard line. Now the first down line is brought to you by Overstock.com, your online outlet. It's all about the O. Here's another look.
Here's Pinnaker hitting Fernandez on that comeback. Fernandez running very precise, good routes. Ran that beautiful slant for a touchdown. There he was on a comeback.
Apoy is going to come off the field for the Huskies. Might had his bell rung a little bit, replaced by Donnie Mariaki. First down, Bulldogs at the 37-yard line. Pinnaker gives to Wright again, and Wright gets a little gap across the 40 to about the 42 or 3. Lobendown makes the stop, but they're starting to get 4, 5, 6 yards on first down now.
And that makes your playbook a lot easier to deal with when it's second down and 5. Second down and 5 is a lot easier for an offensive coordinator to look at as opposed to second down at 10 or second down at 11 or, God forbid, second down at 15 if you lose yardage. Second down at 5 is very manageable because it allows you to go down the field maybe a little bit, take a shot.
Bad news for the Huskies. Joe Lobendown just limped off the field. He's being tended to on the sideline. We'll try to keep him posted. 2 tight ends, 1 wide out for Fresno State. Long count from Pinnaker. And finally gets the play off, and they give it to Wright. Wright running right behind his offensive lineman. And his offensive lineman actually might have impeded him a little bit. Quite sure who that was.
His fullback, Rashawn Bircher, kind of got in his way a little bit. And this is what happens with running backs. Sometimes they see a hole and their own guy is in the way. And they have a hard time being patient and letting that guy go on and make his way down the field and make those blocks. Sometimes you run right into that guy and it screws everything up. Scott White and Tim Galloway on that tackle. Galloway is in for Lobendown, and he started 10 games in Lobendown's absence last year, so this is a guy with experience, Tim Galloway in the middle.
Slot right, crowd getting involved. This place is really cooking once again here on third down. Straight back, Pinnaker, short drop, clear out. caught by Fernandez, close to the first down. And I think he might have enough. He knew where the markers were, too. A very heads-up play, I think, by Joe Fernandez. And it is a first down for Fresno. Fresno now is moving the sticks, something they did not do in the first half.
And a lot of it has to do with this tiny little receiver out of Morgan Hill, California, Joe Fernandez. I'm very impressed with him so far in the second half. He's running precise routes. He's getting first downs. He's got field awareness. He's doing a great job.
And 4 first downs you saw in that graphic in the first half. They have 6 in this third quarter. Give it to Wright again, and Wright almost broke that. He got to midfield, maybe to the 49-yard line. And it was Bryson Sumlin in the game for Wright. He got it across midfield to the 39-yard line. Sumlin's more of a banger, Wright a little bit more of a finesse runner, although he can hit you too.
Tough guy, about 10 pounds lighter than Wright.
The Washington sideline. There's stand back loosening up. There's a give to Sumlin again, and this time he's not going to get much. Maybe back to the line of scrimmage. Joe Lobendon, who's back in the game, makes the stop. So another third down play here for the Bulldogs of Fresno State.
Lobendon wasn't out long, and that's not good news for Fresno State because this is a big play for them coming up. They need to keep that ball going. They need a first down, especially with Stanback coming back in the game. He's got something to prove since that interception he threw in the first half. That's what really gave Fresno State the jump on this game. Without that play by Sanders and that bad throw by Stanback in the first half, I'm not sure Fresno State has a shot to come back and win this game. Now they're in the lead.
And looking at a 3rd and 7 just across midfield. Big play right here. Out of the shotgun. High snap. Pinniger pulls it down. Throws a little swing for Rivera, and that's not going to get much. Rivera knocked out of bounds after a gain of about 2, and the Bulldogs will have to give it up. Little exchange of words at the 40-yard line between Jennings and Sam Cunningham, but doesn't amount to anything. Fresno State will have to punt.
Great awareness by the Washington defense on that. They know when Matt Rivera's in the game and the single back that they want to get him the ball and throw it to him. He's like a third down Dave Meggett style back, if you will. They were all over him on that one.
This is blow. We have a momentary stoppage here. And a timeout is going to be called by Washington. Oh, we come to the end of the quarter. It's not a timeout, but the end of the quarter. And a look at the scoreboard shows the Fresno State Bulldogs 14 and the Washington Huskies 10. 15 minutes of football left, and you really have the idea that this game is all teed up, just waiting for somebody to take it. Well, we welcome you back, and we are still in the third quarter. 20 seconds left because Rivera went out of bounds. They didn't stop the clock when he did. Once they realized the mistake, they put 20 seconds back on the clock. So we're in the final 20 seconds of the third quarter. Fourth quarter has not started yet. And here's the Fresno State punt. A high, fairly short kick. Frederick, fair catch at the 16-yard line. And there's still 12 seconds left, so Washington will have one snap before we actually get to the end of the third quarter. Let's take a look at our Napa game summary. Fresno State now 224 yards to Washington's 227. And this, of course, shows in the scorecards on the scoreboard, too. 5 turnovers and 14 penalties in the game. And most of them were forced, not necessarily sloppy. Pinniger 12 of 20 for 126 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 pick. And Fresno leads it by 4.
Just like you said earlier, Barry, nobody has taken a hold of this game and grabbed the reins and said it's our game yet.
Stanback back at quarterback for Washington. Give on an inside handoff this time to James, and James is stopped by Sanders. And finally, and this time we mean it, it's the end of the third quarter. And a look at the scoreboard still shows the Fresno State Bulldogs 14, the Washington Huskies 10. 15 minutes of football left, and we're coming back. College Football Saturday on Fox Sports Net is presented by Kyocera Wireless Phones. All the features, none of the hassles. By the first ever Pontiac G6. Go to www.firsteverg6.com. By Napa Auto Care Centers. Napa, get the good stuff. And by the M3 Power from Gillette. Feel the power of the world's best shave.
We start the fourth quarter. Barry Tompkins, Petros Papadakis. Husky Stadium here in Seattle. 4-point ball game. And there's a fumble. Ball's loose, picked up by Fresno State. And it's going to be a touchdown for Brian Morris on the first snap of the final period. And again, kind of a rookie mistake.
That's an exchange change problem between the quarterback and the running back. Could have been Stanback, could have been James in that situation.
Gilby can only look on and say, what happened?
Well, it was a fake.
Yeah, it was going to be an option. I think Stanback was going to either keep it or throw it. And he just dropped it. Brian Morris, thank you very much.
It was a fake to that backup fullback, and Morris just gets that thing, and it's a gift, takes it into the end zone, and that's a touchdown.
That's a couple of gifts that the Huskies have given the Fresno State Bulldogs. They've given them 2 scores. And we'll take another break. Just underway in the fourth quarter. 6 seconds gone. And the Bulldogs have stretched the lead to 11. 21-10 Fresno State. Petros Christmas is not for 2.5 months, but a couple of gifts early here for the Bulldogs.
Wow. I mean, usually you expect Fresno State to score touchdowns defensively. You see Sanders bringing it in on that interception. That was a gift, and here's another one. Stanback just drops the ball. Morris is able to pick it up, and he takes it into the end zone untouched. Fresno State's a team that causes this kind of thing to happen. They do wreak havoc on their opposition, but there's no excuse for those plays. Those were both gifts.
Well, the Bulldogs will kick it off. High end over end kick. Frederick will have a chance at the goal line. Tries to take it to the long side of the field. One man misses him at the 10, trying to get outside, and he cannot get around Paul Williams, who chases him out short of the 20-yard line.
Nobody's that fast.
No. Had a good angle on him, and he ran him down. Well, let's take a look at our Wendy's High School Heisman hopeful. Jonathan Stewart plays just down the road, and don't you know the Washington Huskies, of course, as well as everybody else in the Pac-10 Conference, taking a long look at this guy.
2,609 rushing yards. He's out of Olympia, Washington. A big booming independent rock scene in Olympia, Washington. Bands like The Gossip, The Decemberists, bands that I enjoy, yes. He's out of that same area. Big high school win in Washington State football history last night when Bellevue beat down De La Salle. They ended the streak.
151 in a row, and that was it. Here's Corey Paws throwing, intercepted. Off the hands of the intended receiver and right into the hands of James Sanders. There's another gift.
I don't know how much you can blame Paws for that one. That's just one of those tip balls. Throw it over the middle. Ball gets tipped. Everybody in the stadium that has purple on is cringing.
Here's a look at it. Net.
Oh, it was a high ball for Frederick. Bad ball by Paws.
Well, there's going to be a lot of talk about the Washington quarterback situation here, I'm sure, in the coming week.
They've both done some good things, but both of them very green, very young. Both of them made a lot of rookie mistakes.
There's a give to Wright, and he doesn't get much. Right now for a Kyocera game break, let's go to Mike Goldberg in the studio. Mike?
Barry, Petros, a little SEC history. This is Brett Schaefer of number 14 Tennessee. He scores a touchdown, recovering from an early fumble. It's history because Schaefer is the first true freshman quarterback to start an opener in the SEC in the modern day. Early redemption, early score 7-3. Guys?
Boy, he only has to do it in front of about 90,000 people. Huh? That's tough. Bulldogs with the first down at the 29-yard line. They go out of the I formation. Second down, I beg your pardon, and 9 yards to go. The give again is to Wright. He's got a gap at the 20, the 15, a foot race. He's in. Touchdown, Bulldogs, and they've busted this one open. .28 yards. Well, we kept talking about Dwayne Wright, and this time he showed the goods.
They line up in that 2 tight end set, and Fresno State had to have that kill mentality. Washington is flailing. This game is up for the taking. Lobendon, who's been a star all day, misses the tackle in the hole. Wright takes it to the end zone. Huge play by Fresno State. Now they look like the team we expected to see in the first half. They've taken advantage of the opportunities Washington has afforded them.
Try for point now to make this an 18-point Fresno State lead. It is up and good, and with 13 minutes, and 53 seconds remaining to be played in the ball game. Keith Gilbertson may be asking for volunteers. It's the Fresno State Bulldogs 28, the Washington Huskies 10. There's a T-Mobile scoring drive. Wasn't really a drive. It was kind of a sprint. 2 plays, 29 yards, both of them by that guy right there, Dwayne Wright. Here are his numbers: 19 carries, almost 100 yards, just under a 5-yard average.
And I said Wright or Sumlin, one of these running backs for the Bulldogs was going to have a 100-yard game for them to have a chance in the second half. Pat Hill in that locker room at halftime said forget about all of it. He saw his team was being dominated despite the score. He went double tight ends, triple tight ends, ran to the unbalanced side and dominated this game in the second half. Fresno State had some luck as well, though.
Yeah, but a combination of the two, I think. And Fresno State leads it by 18. And look at this kick. And Frederick's going to say, I think we'll take it at the 20. Let's take a look at our Pac-10 Conference headlines. And it's been a very interesting opening week. Cal winning at Air Force. Not only winning at Air Force, I mean, they blew Air Force away.
And that looked to be a trap game. Altitude, you have to prepare against the option. Air Force is a very gutty team. Nobody quite knew how good Cal was going to be. We expected them to be good. They looked phenomenal.
And you really have to feel for Mike Riley.
Don't.
Tough loss in a game that they had won against LSU, number 3 in the country. Pac-10, 6 up and 2 down in their openers. Only Oregon State's heartbreaking loss and UCLA's loss to Oklahoma State. Casey Paz will try this again. Throws a screen for Trias Asopo. He is hammered, and he almost juggled the football. Kyle Goodman makes the stop. Only picked up about a half a yard.
Trias Asopo in the past has been a guy that's gotten balls here in Washington to keep the defense honest. So they know that maybe he'll get a counter or maybe he'll catch a pass every once in a while. He's been a huge part of Washington's offense today, or lack thereof. I mean, tailbacks haven't really made any big plays. Trias Asopo's the guy they're going to on first down, even though he's a very skilled player. That's not that great of an option.
A lot of Fresno State hands in the middle of that screen, too. Out of the eye again. Quick toss this time to Frederick. Frederick trying to work one-on-one, and a great defensive play, I thought, by Richard Marshall to play off that block and still make the tackle.
That's tough, and a lot of the time when a guy just gets a little smoke route like that, or a heat route we like to call it, just turn, catch the ball, and try to get 5 yards, almost like a run play out there on the perimeter. And it's a guy that you know is known for breaking big plays like Frederick. A lot of the time, you can kind of shortchange yourself in your mind before making the tackle. Marshall did a great job on that play not to.
6 defensive backs for Fresno State. Paz running for his life now under hot pursuit, and he is just swallowed up by Claude Sanders. I mean, that's the second time Sanders has just run down Casey Paz.
Looked like a WWF move that he pulled on Casey right there. Just jumped up, both hands in the air, kind of spread his legs apart, and just like you said, Barry, swallowed him up. Looks a little like Jimmy the Superfly Snuka there. Look at that.
Full takedown.
And the chin strap came up on Paz's nose. That's never fun.
Punting situation for the Huskies. Here come the Bulldogs. They don't get it. Short kick, however. And there's a gutsy move by Jennings, one that Pat Hill, I'm sure, will say, don't do that again. Well, the first down line brought to you by Overstock.com. Visit Overstock.com today. Start saving. It's all about the O. Only a 28-yard punt. And a gutsy 4-yard return by Jennings, but one I'm sure that the coaching staff would rather not have seen. The Bulldogs back in business now at the 45-yard line. They'd really like to drive a nail in the coffin right here.
This would be it.
Start McDonald in motion. And the give again is to Wright. He gets a couple to about the 43. Got about 3 yards. Well, here's a guy who's played a little quarterback, not only at Fresno State, but won himself a Super Bowl. A guy that's made absolutely the most of what he's got.
Dilfer's been running around the field all day, shaking hands and kissing babies and hugging everybody you see him there. One of the most gregarious individuals probably in the history of Fresno State football. They're known for ornery guys, you know what I mean? Even though Henry Ellard was a nice guy, Dilfer walking around shaking everybody's hand. He's running for president, yeah.
I formation. They give it a right again. Look out. Hurdles a man. Gets it down to the 36. He'll be about a yard short of the first down. Fred Dilfer in a school that has produced some very, very good quarterbacks. And you can see some of them right here. Kevin Sweeney saw his dad here today. Old Jim Sweeney.
What a star he is.
Oh, just terrific. I'll tell you what, I want to look like him when I'm his age. Billy Volek, now playing for Tennessee. Jeff Tedford. Paul Pinnigan. Jeff Tedford, you know, don't you?
He's groomed a few quarterbacks in his days as well. And Pinniger has a chance before it's all said and done to be the leader in all the passing categories here at Fresno State. He's got a couple of years left.
Right now is going over 100 yards, 21 carries for 103 yards. Fresno going out of the I formation, 3rd in the yard. Give it to right again, and I don't know. I don't think he got it. I would have to think Fresno would go for this on 4th down.
They've been running that 3 tight end set the entire second half here, and it's really worked out for them well. Wright, I feel, missed the hole on that one. Should have taken it a little farther outside to the front side, but might have gotten the first down anyway. If not, they do go for it. Out here in no man's land, you got the momentum. You've been running the ball well. Why not go for it? Be physical and exert your will on that defensive line with your offensive line.
And they are. I think the offensive line's got a pretty good push right now. They didn't on that last play, but they're getting 2-3 yards almost every time. 4th down in a yard. Same offensive set as they've gone with most of the second half. Now they flop McDonald to the right side. They offset the fullback. And they bring Wright in motion, and now flags fall. I think that might have been just designed to get Washington to jump. And
they had no intention of running a play on that one. You shift both backs out of the backfield.
So now they will charge Fresno with delay game, and now they'll probably punt it. Now Gilby over on the Washington sideline has seen a lot, and he says, no, don't do anything. Just stay where you are. They're not going to run a play. I know it. I just know it.
And you see Pinniger kind of laughing after the play. God knows what he was saying to those defensive linemen. I mean, those quarterbacks get frustrated. They don't jump on the first couple huts. They start saying some pretty off-color things, you know, because you don't know what's going to happen. You just have time to kill.
So they will bring on the punter, Mike Lingua. I'm sure he'll try to kick this away from Frederick. Kicks it straight up. And it hits at the 5, takes a big hop. Fresno State was down there to cover it, but it jumped up over the heads of the 2 coverage men. 44-yard punt, no return. Washington starts at the 20. Well, the NFL on Fox Sports Net, rather on Big Fox. Pre-game show at 12. Doubleheader game, Giants and the Eagles, Cowboys and the Vikings, or the Falcons and the 49ers. Pro football starting a week from now, a week from today.
There's a few people that like the NFL in this country, yeah?
I think so. You know, and there's a nice mix of it. There are in Seattle, too. But yet the Huskies are still a pretty big show.
They're the biggest ticket in town, as far as I'm concerned.
There's Casey paused to throw. Throws for Frederick. Plays in full stride this time, and Frederick has the first down at the 38-yard line. Richard Marshall defending, and that's one of the few times that Paz has been able to drop back, be unhindered, and hit a man right in the middle of his route.
Frederick caught him in a little bit of bail coverage there, and they had the perfect route called for it. Just a little out route, 15-yard gain. That's what Frederick can give you. The only thing is he doesn't have Reggie Williams on the other side anymore to draw that bracket coverage. He used to be free roaming out there. Now everybody's got their eyes on Frederick.
First down at the 38. Pause, play fake. He'll go up again, throwing deep. Got Frederick out there. Frederick makes the catch at the 23-yard line. That was a well-thrown ball by Paz.
It sure was, and Frederick was the second option. I believe the first option was Corey Williams on a comeback route, the same one Frederick just ran. This is a backside post. Frederick beats his man Washington right off the bat, goes up and gets the ball. This is a playmaker. This is a big play guy, and he's got him going right now.
40 yards on that one, and suddenly Charles Frederick 90 yards in pass receptions on 7 catches. This time he comes the long side of the field. Pause, throws, Frederick makes the catch. Couldn't get by that first man. A beautiful one-on-one tackle by Raymond Washington.
Washington had to have a short memory, got beat on the play before. That's why I have so much respect for cornerbacks and defenders that cover people out on the perimeter one-on-one. You get beat on one play, the next play, it's right back to you. Here it comes again. Frederick's like a running back getting every ball. Talk about a shoestring tackle. He just kind of slaps at that ankle a few times, and Frederick finally goes down. And let me tell you, when you're a ball carrier in that situation, you can't believe you went down that easy. But everything happens so fast out there, it's like before you know it, you're on the ground.
Washington came out of the game, incidentally. Short drop, paused, over to the end zone. Unable to make the catch that time was Corey Williams. Well covered by Marcus McCauley.
And that's my guy, Mr. Vegas, without a catch in this game. But again, that catch he had last year, Corey Williams from Las Vegas, Nevada, true freshman. What a dream come true to have the catch to beat Washington State in the Apple Cup. And that's really what saved this season and kept everybody happy in the offseason at the University of Washington. Tough year last year for everybody involved with this program. And now the clouds are kind of lifted.
Yeah, it's a new time here. New athletic director. They pick up the blitz this time, and it's going to be James running behind some good blocking. Gets the head down, gets inside the 10 to about the 7-yard line. Brad Vanneman leading the way. Some excellent blocking up front. But there's a flag down. And it's back to the line of scrimmage, and that does not bode well for the Dogs. And it's going to negate a very good play.
I think it's on Khalif Barnes because he's the only one complaining to the official.
Number 63, 10-yard penalty, previous spot, still third down.
That was on Clay Walker.
It's on Khalif's partner on the weak side there, Clay Walker.
Well, you talked about the Apple Cup. Of course, that's the great traditional Mr. Las Vegas, Corey Williams. And here was that catch, and it was a game winner against Washington State.
It's like a jackpot playing Caribbean poker or something for that young man. What a moment for a true freshman to be able to win a rivalry game like that. I mean, we got a real Vegas theme. We're playing poker with quarterbacks. We got Mr. Vegas flying around the field even though he doesn't have a catch in this game.
What does that say about us?
We like Vegas. We like the desert. How's that?
Perfect. Third down 11. Pause straight back. They drop into coverage. Pause throws. Ball's caught. Frederick has it at the 9-yard line. In front of Iwan Giles.
Here you're going to see Frederick just run an ISO button hook route here. Turns around. Comes right back to the football, comes right around on that defender. Here's a guy who uses the field as kind of like a paint canvas. He's like an artist out there. He knows how to swoop in and out. He knows how to get back to the ball. And that's one of the great things that receivers do that are good. Come back to the football and use their route to the ball to get away from the defender.
He was such a great, not only football player, I'll tell you in a minute here, as James tries the left side, got a nice block. He's at the 5, down to the 4. Talking about Charles Frederick, he was the player of the year in the state of Florida as a high school senior in football. He was also the player of the year in the state of Florida in basketball.
Well, his hair wasn't that long, I guarantee you that. Because you can't have that long a hair and play basketball. The helmet kind of helps keep that big thing down. But in basketball, that'd be flying, whipping people in the eyes. People would be losing eyes out there. It'd be horrible. I don't think his hair was that long.
Maybe not. He played 1 year of basketball here at the University of Washington. Then opted to stay with football.
He must have had a fade back then or something.
I think he had cornrows then, actually. Here's Pause, gets close to the end zone, gets inside the 1-yard line. But the clock is the ally of the Fresno State Bulldogs.
And a lot of those guys with big hair, I remember we talked about Troy Polamalu earlier, Malifo McKenzie, another guy that I played with at USC. They had that big hair. They were all guys that were prone to concussion. And they said, you know, the big hair helps pad my head when I hit people. It's true.
I can see that.
I never tried it.
Third down, goal to go for the Huskies. Try to make this a little more respectable. Pause going to throw. End zone. Knocked away. Batted down that time as he threw into coverage by Todd Garcia. John Lyon, the intended receiver. Now it's fourth down.
And that is the backup tight end, John Lyons, 6'6", 260 pounds. He's a huge target in there. And this ball was on the money. Garcia makes a good play to get there right as the ball got there, but frankly, Lyons should have had that pass. And he's a backup tight end. Joe Toledo, who's the starting tight end, the guy that they're really excited about here, is out with a groin pull. Here they're going for it.
On fourth down, may as well. You're down 18. Two tight ends. They give it to James. He's in. Touchdown, Huskies. But it could be a case of too little, too late.
Well, you never know with the way things have gone in this game, especially with the turnovers. But James runs an old goal line play that we used to call George. There's no cutback on that play. If you're going to take it outside, that's where you better stay. And he makes the right cut, takes it outside, rolls into the end zone. Nice run by James on the goal line.
And they will try for 2 to make this a 10-point game. And you're right, stranger things have happened should they convert this 2-point conversion.
I mean, don't make me bring up that Oregon State game out there in Baton Rouge again.
That's right.
I didn't want to talk about that poor kicker.
I felt really sorry for the Beavers in general, for the kicker in particular, and for Mike Riley in particular.
There was a vacuum inside of me when I watched that happen.
Here's pause on the shovel pass, not going to happen. Got it to Anthony Russo, but I think he might have gone to that well one too many times. And it remains a 28-16 ball game. Fresno State leads. Welcome back. 6:53 remaining in the ball game. Fresno State has welcomed a couple of gifts from the Washington Huskies. Huskies bounce back with a score here, but a 12-point game. 6:53 remaining. Fresno State doesn't think the Huskies will go onside here. They only put 5 people up on that front wall, and they kick kind of a line drive sidewinding kick that is going to go into the end zone. I thought it was going out of bounds, but it took a turn.
That ball hops funny ways, especially on this field turf. Now, field turf, of course, you know, is the new thing. It looks kind of like restaurant parsley, but it's got all those rubber bits in it. You see the black bits coming up as the ball hits the ground. And
you know, it's interesting. That ball's a live ball right now. Huskies could have just run in and jumped on it.
Could they have?
They never doubted it.
Once it goes into the end zone?
I thought you had it down.
Too clear on that one. Game goes on, though.
Game goes on. There's a give this time. The right tripped up as he crossed the line of scrimmage, and he saw a lot of field turf in front of him. And the rule is, and I will stand corrected here, once the ball crosses the plane of the goal line, it is considered a dead ball. So
there
you are right. The first down line brought to you by Overstock.com, your online outlet. It's all about the O. Second down and 7 now for Fresno State. They will try to use up as much of the play clock as they can. They better hurry and get this off, and they do. They give us the right again, and he stopped as he crosses the 25-yard line. Washington has 2 timeouts remaining. Fresno State doesn't have all 3 of theirs, should they choose to use them. Should Fresno State go on and win this game, Petros, they will have beaten 6 of the last 8 Pac-10 teams they've played. That's impressive.
That's very impressive. And you know what? These guys don't care. Pat Hill has the motto on this team that he uses. Anybody, anywhere, anytime. They want everybody. This is a program that's out for respect, and they gain ground a lot every year. In leaps and bounds, they gain ground. They're going to Kansas State next week. And they're not scared of anybody.
Well, he says, you know, if we're going to be in a bowl bigger than the Silicon Valley Bowl, and he said that with due respects to the Silicon Valley Bowl, He said, we got to play these teams. We got to go out there and not only play them, but we got to go to Seattle and win, and we got to go to Manhattan, Kansas and win, and then maybe people will start to take us seriously. Look what they've done with non-conference opponents. Remember 2001, they beat Colorado, they beat Oregon State, and they had Wisconsin by the throat.
And the problem is, in those years, when these teams would win all these games and people would get excited, especially in 2001 about Fresno State, they didn't have the depth to get through a season. A couple of their frontline guys would get hurt, and they'd lose a couple games, usually to Boise State. This year, Fresno State does have the depth. Now, how is this team going to be at Kansas State next week? Who knows? Because these teams like Kansas State and Tennessee, they line up huge athletes and just try to pound out a Fresno State team. I'm not sure you can do that to this team.
No, I'm not either. And I don't think Fresno State is going to be out-quicked by anybody either. Here's the punt, a wobbly, not a very good punt. And that's going to give Washington the ball, actually, in pretty good field position. And stranger things have happened than to come up with a couple of scores in 4 minutes and 26 seconds. Fresno State will go to Kansas State next week. And you can see that one right here on FSN. First part of a double dip, Wyoming and Texas A&M in the afternoon game.
That stadium in Manhattan, Kansas is no joke.
No.
I mean, Husky Stadium's tough here, but I don't think I've ever seen anything like Manhattan, Kansas. They run Harleys, about 200 of them around the stadium before the kickoff. You can't hear yourself.
It's a tough place. Here's pause to pass now. Now he runs out of time and throws it away. Danielle Booker was right in his face.
And if Washington can come up with something here, if they can come up with a little touchdown pass or some kind of drive, then this might become a game. And remember, Washington's at home here. Fresno State's playing on the road. And Washington has good athletes. They have people that can make plays. You've seen Fredericks.
See the numbers on Corey Paz, now 17 of 34, playing with a lot more confidence on Casey Paz, I beg your pardon. Corey, his brother, played at UCLA. Here comes a blitz. They pick it up. Paz rolls right, it's got a man. Throws, and the ball is caught this time by Russo, or rather by Daniels, and out of bounds at about the 36-yard line. It's going to be about 2 yards short of the first down. They'll mark it at the 38.
Washington's not out of this game yet. Casey's bigger than Corey. He's about 6'5", Corey's about 6'2", and Casey's probably got a better arm than Corey. Corey Paz has a lot of aspirations to be in the sports media world, like you and I.
Doesn't everybody?
Yeah. At my job, go back to being a waiter.
You've always got that fallback.
I'm good at that.
Here's a give this time to James. James going to have the first down and get out of bounds. All of a sudden, the Huskies start to click a little bit.
And a few people have left the stadium. There's a couple empty seats, but you can start to feel the excitement. Now, there's not the earthquake rumble that we saw when the Huskies were introduced in the game, but you can start to feel the murmuring here in the stadium that the Huskies might just have a shot to come back and win this football game. First things first, though, they need to get a couple first downs or a touchdown here on this drive. Otherwise, it's over.
That two-point conversion could begin to loom pretty large.
And a shovel pass, I just didn't like that call. I don't think you did either. 5 times calling that option shovel pass. That's going to the well fortune many times.
There's a blitz. They pick it up. Paz throws and he underthrows. And Frederick almost came back and made that catch. Paz was hit right as he threw. That play might have been 6.
A lot of heat up the middle coming to Casey Paz. Frederick stops on the dime, almost makes that play. McIntyre coming up the middle. Fresno State bringing people from the outside, bringing people everywhere. I think they're starting to get a sense of urgency about this drive as well.
Second down and 10. Frederick to the near side, Shackelford in the slot. Pause straight back, over the middle, too tall for Frederick. And now it's third down.
They're in 4-down territory here, so they're going to have 2 chances to get this first down. You would expect Washington maybe just to try to get a maybe 5 or 6 yard play. Maybe they'll run that shovel pass
there
again.
You go.
Or they'll mix in some option or something to get 5 yards. Just get half of it here, because without a first down here, Washington's goose is probably cooked in this ballgame.
So big play right here, 3rd and 10. Frederick comes to the near side. They slot Russo. Daniels to the far side. Pause straight back. Pressure comes. Flag down. That's going to be a hold. I'm sure that Fresno will decline this penalty. They might get Clay Walker, who was overmatched on that play by that guy right there, who has been a real force.
Holding on the offense, number 63. Penalties declined. Down will be 4.
So one last shot here.
Now check out Clay Walker here. He is going to have his hands all over Danielle Booker, and he just takes him down. Like a soccer slide tackle there. You're not going to get away with that.
Well, Booker was going to get to pause, so it's probably not a bad penalty when you really stop to think about it. The bottom line is it's 4th and 10. Straight back pause. They come off the edge. Pause throws, intercepted. Picked off by Marshall. Marshall down to sideline midfield. He's got Pause to beat, and he beats him easily. And Fresno State is going to have its 3rd defensive touchdown of the game. 75 yards.
Wow.
And they'll get an excessive celebration penalty, which I hate.
You hate the fact that they call the penalty, or you hate the taunting?
I hate the fact they call that penalty. I think you should let kids celebrate. Come on, they're college kids.
You got a 75-yard touchdown return by a sophomore quarterback, Richard Marshall. You can bet he is going to be excited. And what they tell you to do in college football or any football team is when you score a touchdown, celebrate with your teammates.
He just stepped right in front of that one. Yep.
Was intended for Williams. Marshall steps right in front of him, gives a little bit of a dead leg to Casey Pause. Casey Pause, no match for Marshall's speed. Marshall takes it in the end zone. Let's see how hard he clowns here on the old celebration, if he deserved the flag. Well, you can't unbutton the helmet. You can't unbutton the helmet. They get mad about that, and he did the little hip pose, but that wasn't that bad. I've seen worse celebrations that were not flagged.
It wasn't in your face. It wasn't pointed at anybody. I hate it. I hate it.
Well, to be honest with you,
I thought I was going to get myself without with it.
Thank you very much.
To be honest with you, Barry, this is an emotional game. Football is a game that's filled with emotion, and it takes emotion to play modern football. The way it is now and how much the game has changed, these guys only get a certain amount of shot, and this game is played with an incredible amount of emotion, and guys are scared out there, guys are excited out there, guys are angry and violent out there. I mean, there's so much going through a young man's head that when something good happens, like a 75-yard touchdown return, you just can't help but celebrate.
Absolutely. I completely agree with that. Try for point up and good. It's a 35-16 lead for the Fresno State Bulldogs. So Bulldogs have really done everything that could be asked of them, and the adjustments that we talked about at halftime were made by Pat Hill. They've dominated the second half pretty much. Here's the Kyocera call of the day. And it was this pass and catch. And here's another look at it. Paul Williams under it, makes the catch, steps out of bounds. That set up the touchdown that pretty much put this game on ice for Fresno State. This one just icing on the cake.
Paul Williams had to change direction with that ball in the air. Great play, great adjustment with the ball in the air by Paul Williams.
So now this place is really emptied out. I tell you, Husky Stadium is usually one that's very difficult to get out after a game. I don't think we're going to have any problem at all.
I just want to hang out in the booth for a while, this being my first game. It feels good up here.
The old maiden voyage has gone pretty smoothly, hasn't it?
Yeah, crack the old bottle of water against the bow of tea here.
So Fresno State will kick it away. Sheldon Sampson's going to be the deep man now. They won't put Frederick back there. Not going to risk any injury to their star player. Frederick did have a big game. 9 catches, 114 yards. He couldn't do it by himself.
No, and they really expected a guy like Corey Williams or Quentin Daniels or Sonny Shackelford, Russo, somebody to step up and make some plays. They can't just have one receiver here in Washington.
Very short kick. Russo comes over, handles it at the 19-yard line. Starts back, gets the 25, upended at about the 32-yard line by Vincent Mays. Paul Williams, we saw, made that catch on our Kyocera call of the day, and he's a guy who I'm sure is playing this game with very mixed emotions. He's from Avenal, California, and a productive member of the Fresno State team, but his brother, you remember Curtis, played up here at the University of Washington, and they got that number 25 right at the 25-yard line. That is to commemorate Curtis Williams. He, of course, injured and paralyzed in a football game a couple of years ago against Stanford. He died about 9 or 10 months later, and that's his brother. I'm sure playing with a pretty heavy heart and a very nostalgic feel here at Husky Stadium.
And really in the last 5 years in college football, not a tougher story than the story of Curtis Williams. They have a scholarship here set up for him at the University of Washington. They call him C-Dub because of the UW and the first letter of his first name. And just a tough story for anybody to deal with, tough story for anybody to kind of swallow.
New quarterback now for Washington State is Carl Bunnell. And he runs the keeper, and he's going to get a lot out of it down the 45-yard line.
Now, every quarterback we've seen from Washington in this game, all three of them, we've seen Paz, we got Bonnell now, Stanbeck, of course, all of them, first play ran the option. Must have been scripted that way.
True freshman. Bonnell, and there's an injured player on the sideline, a Fresno State player, and that's the reason for this momentary delay. Bonnell, a freshman from Kent, Washington, just down the road on the way to the airport. James Sanders is the injured Bulldog, and that, of course, would be a big blow. Well, he seems to be all right. At least he's...
Well, hopefully when a guy is on the ground like that, and it's the first game of the year, and it's a guy who's been incredibly active in the football game, Sanders with 2 interceptions in this one, you're hoping that it's a cramp.
That could be. You're right. That really is the hope. He's able to put weight on that leg, and over the years I've learned, I think that is...
Yeah, it looks like the old whole body cramp toward the end of the game.
That could be a groin pull the way he was walking, too. Don't like to speculate about those kinds of things, but Bunnell gives off this time, and running with the football was James Sims. Bunnell is the guy originally signed to play at Washington State, but he never enrolled there. Came over here, enrolled at the University of Washington. Now he's the number 3 quarterback.
He might be the number 1 quarterback.
There's going to be a lot of talk in Seattle. There's no question about that. Here's his first pass. Got a little something on that. Throws to Russo. Didn't gain much, but threw the ball pretty well. Marcus McCauley runs Russo out of bounds.
And if there's a bright spot in a game like this, it's the first game of the season. Coach Gilbert said this is his team finally. Now, last year, the way he talked was that he just didn't have any fun coaching last year with everything that was going on here at Washington. But now he's having fun coaching again. He's able to get this young freshman quarterback in, get him a little experience, and perhaps this Washington team will find an identity and improve. The defense got a little tired out, but I thought they played great in the first half.
Govindan, I thought, was absolutely sensational. Here's Bunnell again on the keeper. Bunnell ran an option offense in high school, so he is very comfortable in this particular kind of offense. First down line brought to you by Overstock.com, your online outlet. It's all about the O. Fourth down, about 2 yards. They will go here. And did they take too much time? No, they didn't. But somebody might have moved. Keith Gilbertson, I'm sure, will have a lot to think about. He'll be one of the good guys in coaching. I know you mentioned earlier you played for him for a couple of weeks.
About 10 days.
Take a look at our Kyocera players of the game. And we're going to give it to the Fresno State defense. They scored 3 touchdowns, outscored the offense. So a collective player of the game. That's Brian Morris. And then this one right here picked off by Marshall and returned 75 yards.
And, you know, you could say a couple of those plays were gifts. That was kind of the angle we were using earlier in the game, but it takes a good team and a good defense and an opportunistic defense to maximize those opportunities, and that's what Fresno State's defense did today. They were awesome. They played very physically, and in the game, in the first half, their offense was not playing well. Their offense had no rhythm. The Fresno State offense had no identity early in this game, and the defense really carried them through. It's because of the defense that Fresno State has won this football game.
21-6 for Fresno State in the final period. They've just kind of worn the Huskies down, I think.
They have, and you know, it's funny because you'd expect the other way around. You know, Fresno State versus Washington, you expect Washington to line up some big offensive linemen and just scrape away at Fresno State's defense. But Fresno State has the depth this year. They have the speed. They have the athleticism. This is a special team.
And I think as the Huskies go on in Pac-10 conference play, they're going to look back and say, you know what? That Fresno State team is one of the tougher teams we played.
And tough is the operative word there. These guys play with a chip on their shoulder. They really do, because they want respect. They feel like they deserve respect. And that's why they play teams like Kansas State. That's why they play teams like Washington. Now, Washington, on the other hand, they have a lot to build on. They have to figure out their quarterback situation. They have to find another big play receiver. They have to give that defense some time to relax.
Bunnell throws and threw behind his intended receiver, Dash Crutchley. Dash Crutchley sounds like the villain in a Boris and Natasha cartoon, doesn't it?
1920s radio drama.
You're going to get that nasty Dash Crutchley.
Nobody's named Dash anymore, you know?
You better be able to run.
Yeah, it doesn't look that spry, to be honest with you. Especially on that play. The ball bounces off the thigh. It's never a good thing.
No, that's not good, no. Bunnell handles a bad snap. Puts his head down, gets it down to the 30-yard line. Well, at garbage time, maybe
seems to be the only guy left playing with a sense of urgency.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I mean, he is in a limited showcase here, has shown pretty well.
And that's a funny thing about college football, especially when you get late in a game like this, and the outcome has been decided. You get guys in that have never played before, or that don't get to play a lot. They got something to prove out there. Their whole family's watching and hold hands in the stand.
Now he's going to throw, rolls away, throws on a run. Incomplete, throws too wide, intended for Withorn.
They still have the starting offensive line in there to protect Bunnell. So you know this is somebody who Gilbertson really cares about his future.
True freshman, looking at a 4th down here, and he needs 6. Bunnell unloads it quickly, a little too quickly. Catch is made that time by Shelton Sampson. And that's going to do it. Washington, as you see, has won 17 of its last 18 home openers. Not going to be today, though. As Fresno State will let this clock tick down. They'll have to run one play. I'm sure they'll take a knee. And it's something to build on for Pat Hill. He's not going to get any easier. He's got to go to Manhattan, Kansas, but who knows?
And Pat Hill's goal, like we talked about before, is to get in one of those BCS games. And to do that, he has to win all these games. These games are must-win for him, especially to all those people in the Central Valley.
Well, he had it going 2-3 years ago, and was ranked, got himself ranked. He was in the top 10, and then Boise State came down to Fresno and whipped up on him. Boise State is really a very good football team in that WAC conference.
They have a very creative spread offensive scheme. Fresno State in that year, 2001, started opening eyes around the country. And in that area in California, from Bakersfield up to Sacramento, These guys run the show. I mean, they don't answer to LA. They don't answer to San Francisco. They are the biggest ticket in that area. They got a lot of pride.
Well, that's what that green V is on the back of their helmets. That's to say we are from the greatest agricultural area in the United States, the San Joaquin Valley, and that's what we play for. We're not about the city of Fresno. We're about the whole San Joaquin Valley. Well, I think the San Joaquin Valley has a lot to be proud of in this team. And you know what? The other thing that strikes me, P, is that I'm not sure we've seen the best of Fresno State yet.
No, certainly not, especially not in that first half. Offensively, this is a team that just did not click today. And usually the defense is faster coming along than the offense in any football team in any given situation. And that was the case today. But Fresno State's defense, we saw how opportunistic we were. We saw that they made good plays. They were very physical, and they wore Washington down.
Partner, that first mile's the hardest, and you made it through the first mile. It was great.
It's easy to do with you, Barry. You're a star, man.
That's just about a wrap for us from here at Husky Stadium, and it is a rapidly emptying Husky Stadium where a look at the scoreboard once more shows the Fresno State Bulldogs 35 and the Huskies 16. Next week, Fresno State will move on to Manhattan, Kansas to do battle with the 12th ranked Kansas State Wildcats, and then Wyoming will visit Texas A&M. It all begins at noon Eastern right here on FSN. For Petros Papadakis, I'm Barry Tompkins. So long, everybody.